of thought. Open your mind.
Lady, cat, lady, class, lady, Kendra, the unicorn fool. You know. Thursday. The unicorn fool. Right here. Unicorn fool. Lady Kendra, lady class, lady cat, lady. Unicorn fool. You know.
Open your mind.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series right here on the old T.L.O.T YouTube page. I'm your host, X, but you know that already. That's why you're here. This is that day of the week that we always look forward to, Thursday, because the Unicorn 4 is live and direct in the house, T.L.O.T, the ladies of thought. And tonight, I decided to flip things on their head a little bit because I know y'all are used to me firing questions at the Unicorn 4, but tonight I decided to turn it around and I'm gonna answer their questions. They can ask me whatever they want. I'm going to answer them no matter what it is. I'm going to answer the questions. So we're going to have some fun tonight, y'all, because y'all know X is rough, rugged, raw, raunchy, all that. So this probably isn't suitable. Let me put this disclaimer out. The following program is not suitable for young viewers. Parental discretion is advised. There we go. You probably don't want the young ones sitting around while X is answering questions because X is kind of uncensored. Yeah. But tonight we're gonna have some fun tonight, y'all. And I got a couple donations last night, so y'all know who y'all are because I wrote y'all an email. And I want to thank y'all because I always do that at the top of the show. I always thank y'all for y'all contributions. I greatly appreciate it. I am humbled by it because like I always say, you don't have to spend your hard-earned money on this platform, but you do. You see fit to do that because you see value in this platform, and I am grateful for that, and I thank you as always. Yeah, so tonight, what's good? I see you down there, Lady Ming, Lady Kendra, Lady Katz. What's good,
Hey,
ladies?
how you doing?
Good
Good.
evening.
Lady
Go ahead.
Classic is running a little bit behind,
It's okay.
so she'll be joining us a little later.
It's okay. It's okay. We can go ahead and get started. We get right into it. You know me, we get right into it. I don't
Are
have
you nervous?
No, absolutely not. But before we get started, I have to say this. I was working on a video, another Dark Exodus video, because y'all know my boy Valdez. Y'all know he's been getting his shit stolen by this freaking idiot. And I got a video in the work, but I didn't have time to finish it. I was gonna put it up tonight, but I was running behind, so I wasn't able to do it tonight. But look for Dark Exodus, The Crimes of Kenneth tomorrow, y'all, early. I was gonna put it
forward to it.
I was gonna put it up tonight, but I didn't have time, and it's not completed yet. You know, I had some running around to do. You know, I had to go pick up my lady and stuff like that. So, you know, I kind of got, you know, I couldn't finish it, and plus I had work to do. You know, because I do work. So, you know, stuff was crazy around here today. But look forward to that tomorrow. Dark Exodus, The Crimes of Kenneth. Be looking for that. So whenever y'all ready, we can get started.
All right.
Who's first?
I guess I could go first. Let's see. What do I have written down?
Oh, you wrote some stuff down. Huh?
Yeah, I'm just thinking which one I want to start with first.
Go ahead, pull the trigger. Pull the trigger.
Well, I'll do something simple first. If you could choose whatever age you would want to be forever, what would it be? And why?
30. Because when I became 30, that's when I realized, that's when I start understanding manhood better. When I got to be like 30 years old. I mean, up until 30, I didn't know shit. I was still a boy. You know, I wasn't responsible. Yeah.
Well, tell us about 30. Your hometown and upbringing. Like, what was it like that led you not to know shit by 30?
Well, it's actually strange because, see, I grew up in a nuclear family. I'm not the product of a baby mama. My mother had very little influence on my life. I was pretty much raised by my father. My father was a hardworking blue-collar man. He owned a landscaping business for 25 years. So by the time I was 7 years old, I was already working. I was already humping wheelbarrows, planting trees, spreading gravel. I talk about this a lot. I mean, by the time I was like 11, 12 years old, I could drive a forklift, payloader. He would have me driving his dump truck. You know, I mean, so I've been working ever since I was a child, literally, like, because I had a blue collar father, and you know, he was like a silverback gorilla, and he didn't play no games. He expected your ass to be up out of that bed by 6 o'clock every morning, bed made, because if not, he'd be kicking that damn headboard. 6:01, he's kicking the headboard. So that's how I.
What was your mom like? How was your mom?
My mom was. She was a very mean lady. Yeah, my mom was very, very mean. Very, very. I don't want to say strict, but she was very, very short fused. She was a short fused lady. If it wasn't for my father, she probably would have killed us. Yeah, he was our protection from her.
Do you guys still have a good relationship now, your mom Your mom?
Well, my mom died in 2014.
Sorry about your loss.
Yeah, I mean, my mom died in 2014. My dad died in 2003.
Oh.
I mean, I got along with my mom better when I got older. I got along with my mom better when I moved out of her house.
We all do.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got along better. Got along better. That's a fact.
We all do. I'm interested about what you just said about your mom, and how has that affected you picking your mates?
Well, my father was red pill before people start talking red pill 5-10 years ago. So he taught me to not look for women who were like my mother, because that's usually what we get, because I'm a Gen Xer. I'm in my 40s. So we were taught, you hear the saying, oh, he wants a woman just like his mother. My father taught me the opposite. He said, don't look for women like your mom. He said, look for women who have some of the qualities of your mom, but look for women who are the exact opposite. That's what my father taught me. Like my wife, she's the exact opposite of my mom. She's my wife is very docile. She's very quiet, very caring, very understanding, the total opposite of me. Yeah, as loud and boisterous as I am, she's nothing like that. I mean, she's very calm, very serene kind of woman. She's a submissive woman. She's very submissive. She's very compliant. Now, don't get me wrong. She'll let you have it if you get her time wrong, but she always falls back to me. She lets me lead the household. She always has. That's pretty much it. She knows her position as a woman. She understands my position as a man. So, I mean, we don't get along 100% of the time, but we get along about 80% of the time. So that other 20%, though, is kind of crazy. But that 80% we get along most of the time. So, I mean, when I chose my women, I chose women who didn't remind me of my mother. Women that reminded me of my mother, I didn't have anything to do with, to be honest.
Well, for every rough edge, there's a smooth surface. So I know your mom had a smooth surface as well. If you had to think about it, as reluctant as you may be, what can you say about her that's actually nice? A quality that you wish your wife actually possessed that she may not, that your mom does? I know it was like 3 questions.
My mom, one thing that a lot of the women that I, came in contact with and dated and screwed and all that, one thing that my mom had that they didn't is that my mom was always, she always said what was on her mind. Women often hold things back. The women that I've had contact with, my mother wasn't like that. I mean, you knew what was on her mind. I wish that, and I say that to my wife all the time, sometimes she won't tell me things, I have to kind of find them out down the road, and she said, oh, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to upset you. I didn't want to, whatever. And my mom wasn't like that. My mom's, you knew what the hell was going on. I wish she had more of that quality. Yes. I wish she would just come out and tell me shit instead of, that I do wish. Yeah. I wish she was a little more vocal and not so concerned with whether or not I'm gonna get mad or because my mom doesn't give a shit about that. Yeah, she didn't care about that at all.
So how did that affect like your parenting style, and like in terms of your parents, your wife, and everything else?
Well, I kind of took all my cues from my old man. I was somewhat strict with my kids, but my father, he was hard, but he was fair. So I always tried to be that. I always tried to be hard. I was hard, but I was always fair to my kids. I don't know if y'all was watching. I actually have a video up here that I did a couple months back. And my youngest son actually came on the stream and, we talked about, that kind of stuff. So, I was hard, but I was always fair, because I have 4 kids, they're all adults now because, I was very irresponsible with my penis as a young guy. So, All of my children are adults now, even though I'm not even 50 yet.
What's the genders? Like 2 boys, 2 girls,
Yeah,
3 boys, a girl.
I have 2 sons and 2 daughters. My
Mhm.
oldest son is 32. My youngest son is 29. My daughter is about to turn 27, and I have a 19-year-old.
Oh man.
Yes, those are
So who's your favorite?
my favorite. Yeah, I'll keep it real. My favorite is my daughter. My oldest daughter is my favorite.
Why?
Because she, out of all of them, out of all of the children that I have, she is the one that has always loved me unconditionally the most. Um, she's never gotten angry with me to the point where, she's like, "Oh, I hate you, Dad," or, nothing like that. She's never. The other ones have. I mean, they've told me, "Oh, you're no longer my father," and this kind of crap because of the shit I say to them. But with her, no matter what I say, she takes it in stride. She's probably more like me than any of them. She's more like me than any of them. She's a tough girl. Yeah, she's a very tough girl.
So, if I hear you correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, she's your favorite because she agrees with everything you say?
No, she's my favorite because she is the toughest amongst us. I tell them all that. She's the toughest amongst us. I mean, she's tougher than all of them. She's tougher than her brothers. Yeah, she's tougher than her brothers. She just is. I mean,
So she's not sensitive, is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
She's like me. She's like the old man.
Yeah.
She looks like me too.
Ooh, would you say this to the other three's face? Would you say it in their presence?
I have.
That's why they don't like your ass.
I have.
That's why they mad at you.
I have.
How do you feel about that?
I'm pretty straight. Let me tell you something.
You're supposed to take that to your grave.
I'm a straight shooter. And I tell them they know. You know what y'all know. They've been living with this for a long time. They know exactly who their old man is. Yes, they do. They know. They know. They talk about it. They're like, "Oh, Dad, I know that's your favorite." But they know it is what it is. It is.
Do you have any siblings, Brother X?
I have 8 siblings.
Oh my gosh. Where do you fall in line?
I am the next to the youngest.
So you was almost a baby. Now, was you jealous when you wasn't a baby no more?
Not really. My youngest sister, her and I, we got along pretty good. I mean, we're only separated by 3 years. So, I mean, we got along, and we were the littlest ones because the next sibling after me, there's 8 years between us. So when I was born, my brother was already 8. So we got treated a little different because we were the youngest. And, by the time I was 7 or 8 years old, I had siblings that were, 15, 17, 18, they were older. I was 7 years old. I had an older brother that was 20, so they were moving out of the house. So it wasn't long before it was just me and my little sister. So we got treated different. We got treated. I think we got treated a little better, actually.
Yeah.
Because it was just us 2 as opposed to all 9. So
yeah, and the other 7 had worn them out by then.
Oh yeah.
They was just like, fuck it, just go.
Yeah.
You can go. It doesn't matter. But I like to ask, because I have a lot of friends. You'd be surprised how many people who have families like this, where either there are a lot of children, so there's a big gap between the oldest and the youngest, or their parents had an oldest and literally like 30 years later had another kid, 25 years later. So, and in those situations, the youngest and the oldest, or the 2 with the big age gap, they really don't have much in common. Or they was raised by their oldest, because of course I'm friends with the youngest.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it was with me, because I have 5 brothers, right? So there's 6 boys, and there were 3 girls. So I was raised by Mostly my brothers. I mean, because my brothers, they're like the older ones. My sisters are a little closer, but my brothers were the older ones. So as a young guy, as a young child, I spent a lot of time around men. My father, I had grown men brothers. I had told you when I was like 7 years old, I had a brother that was like 20. So, I spent a lot of time around men. I spent a lot of my youth around men, learning man shit, at a very young age, because they would beat you up, body slam you, punch you, kick you, do all kinds of shit to you. And, you had to be tough to survive in there. It was a struggle to survive in that house.
I bet it was like the Royal Rumble or some shit.
Yeah, it was a struggle to survive, boy. Struggle. Yes, it was.
But to be honest, I'm kind of envious of people who have upbringings like that. It's just my brother and I, and all the other siblings I have, we didn't get into communication until much later. Because we all have the same daddy but different mothers. It's just my brother and I with the same mother. So it's lonely. We're 5 years apart, You was never a dull minute at your house. Ain't nobody messing with you because you got like 16 of cousins, 25 great cousins, and 8 sisters and brothers. They ain't fucking with you. Y'all ran the block. I knew family like yours, and I'm kind of envious of that.
Yeah, well, the hometown, because I grew up in New York on Long Island, and
you had a good upbringing.
Yeah, I got a lot of leeway because everybody knew my brothers. You know how people would go and get their brothers, and their brother would be like 3 years older. When I went to get my brothers, I came back with like 6'5" grown men. When I told people I was going to get my brothers, they was like, "Oh, go get your brothers." And when I came back, I would come back with like a 6'5", 22-year-old man. That's my big
and you
brother.
were like 7.
Yeah, and I was like 7. Yeah, because we're all tall people. I'm actually one of the shorter of them. I'm only taller than 2 of my brothers. I mean, my next to the oldest brother, he's 6'8". My brother next to me, he's 6'5". My other brother is 6. I think he's 6'8" too. But I'm taller. I'm taller than my other 2 brothers. I'm 6'2", and they're only like 5'11", 6 feet. So I'm actually taller than 2 of my older brothers.
Well, no wonder your mother had a bad attitude. Look what she pushed out.
Oh Lord!
Yeah,
These big people.
we're tall people.
You sitting up there. You remind me of my friend's son when he was like 3. He looked like he was 6 because they both like over 6 feet, both parents, and people would think he was retarded because he couldn't talk. But he was just real fucking tall.
Yeah, that's how it was. I was taller than my parents. By the time I was like 15, I was taller than both of my parents. Because my parents, believe it or not, we got all these tall ass dudes. I mean, my parents aren't that tall. I mean, I was taller than my parents by the time I was 15. I mean, I was taller than my mother and my father by the time I was 15. I think we got it from my grandfather. Because my grandfather, he was a tall guy. He was my grandfather on my father's side. He was like 6'10". So he was a tall dude. So I guess that's where it came from. Because my father, he was only like 5. My father was only like 5'11". I don't even think my father was 6 feet. I was taller than my father by the time I was 15.
Wow.
My mom.
I wonder your father was aggressive. She was trying not to get run over in silence.
Okay.
Yeah, all these big old men in the house.
Like, she had big men, like as bigger than Andre the Giant. Wasn't he just like 7 feet?
Yeah. My brothers are tall like that. I mean, they big dudes. Actually, one of my brothers was semi-pro basketball player. Back in the day. So, tall.
Well, how tall are your sons?
And
daughters, actually.
Well, my oldest son, he's taller than me. He's 6'5". My youngest son, me and him are the same height. We're both 6'2". My daughter, she's really not that tall. She's 5'7". My youngest daughter, my oldest daughter is about that tall too. She's like 5'7". They're not. My sons are tall. My daughters aren't. They're not, like these 6 feet girls. They're not tall like that. My sons are taller. My oldest son, he's taller than me. He's 6'5". Yeah, he's taller than
Brother X, I'm 5'2". Your girls are tall.
Well, I guess
The
I mean,
average
like,
height
I'm
for
like,
women.
they don't look
Like,
tall to me. I mean, I still put my fist on top of their head. Like, let me tell you something, girl. I still palm their head. So, yeah, if I'm able to palm your head like this, you're short. Okay, if I can palm your head like this, you're short. Yeah, they're not these big old tall. Yeah, they're not big old tall girls. They're really not. Well, at least they don't look like to me. I don't know what people think of them, but to me, they still, to me, they still like babies. So,
So now that leads me to another question, sort of related. So tell me the story of how you met your wife, if you don't mind sharing.
Oh, absolutely. I told you, y'all can ask me anything. Nothing's off limits. Believe it or not, when I first met my wife, I met her through another female friend. And she didn't even like me at first, believe it or not. Well, she probably don't like me too much now, but she didn't even like me at first. Yeah, she didn't like me because she was into lighter skinned guys, She actually told my other friend, "Oh, he's too dark. I don't, But I start coming around because when I met my wife, she owned a beauty salon, where she would do hair and do haircuts and all that kind of crap. And I just start showing up at her damn salon. I just start showing up because I really, really liked her, and she had that body, boy. So I would show up. At her beauty salon, and I think I kind of wear it on her. And see, I've always been a handy guy. I got that from my father. I always could build, do carpentry, paint, all that kind of stuff, electrical work. I always could do that kind of stuff. And she asked me, she was like, "Oh, you always hanging around here?" She was like, "Could you build me a sign?" And I guess she asked me that because she didn't know what I knew. So I guess she figured if she asked me that, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I would just go away. I was like, "Yeah, I could build you a sign." And I went off, and 3 days later, I came back with a nice sign because, I know carpentry. So I made her a nice sign and I brought it back. And when I brought the sign back, she was like, "Oh my God, you really went and did it?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, that's what you asked me to do, right? And she was like, "Oh, this sign is so nice. Could you put it up for me?" Once I heard that, I knew I had her. Yeah, I knew I had her after that. So, sign up for her. And because I kept trying to get her to go out with me. And the crazy thing is, she would let me come and pick her up. Because one time her car had broke down and she was like, "Oh, I have to leave my car here at my salon. Could you come and pick me up and give me a ride home?" She knew I was going to say yeah because I was trying to hit that. So, of course, I was going to say yeah. So I came and I picked her up and I took her home. And, she just got out the car. Like, "Okay, thanks for the ride. See you later. Get the hell out of here." That kind of thing. I'm like, what the hell? I done went and picked this woman up. She ain't know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna show me no love or nothing. But after I made that sign for her, I told her, I said, because I had been left my ex, by then. Me and my ex had been split up for like a minute, like I don't know, at least 10 months or so we had been split. So I told her, come to my house because I had my own crib, I had a condo. And I was asking her. And she just kept saying no. And one day I saw her, and she lived in the same condo complex that I lived in. And I couldn't believe that. So I was like, "Oh,"
wow.
I was like, "What are you doing here?" She was
That's
like, "Oh,
serendipity.
yeah." She was like, "I live in this complex." And I was like, "Guess what?
You
So do
showed it.
I." So do I.
So where'd you take her on your first date?
The first time we went out was actually in the morning. I took her we went to IHOP for breakfast because a week after I made the sign for her, she actually showed up at my house. So
what else can you do with them hands?
Really?
she showed up, and I was shocked. I was
So
shocked.
she not as laid back as you making her sound.
Nah, not then. Not then. She showed up. I opened the door. She was standing out there. I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn, you came over. She was like, yeah, I decided to come over. I said, come on in. Come on in. And of course she came on in, and you already know what I did to her. That's why
The takedown is real.
the next
Brothers, I
morning.
hope y'all listening gave y'all some real good game. Flowers, candies, miss me with that shit. If you come and whittle something with your hands, draw me a card, hell, even write a message on a Hallmark card that lets me know that you thought about me every second that you were doing this action. It takes nothing to order flowers and candy and all that bullshit. Do something that's thoughtful, something that separates you from the rest. Congratulations. Good for you.
Something that's short, that it really is game, because that's something that separates you from the rest. Does not have to involve a lot of money. And that's misconception, because you got to spend all this money. No, you actually, no, you don't.
Yeah.
If you spend money, but you spend more effort, that actually tells the lady more, because see, his wife wasn't wooed, she was wooed. He wooed.
She asked me to do it, and I just went and I just built it, made it nice, hung it up at her salon, and I knew after that I had her. I knew what I was doing. My shit is very deliberate. Yeah, it's very deliberate. I know what I'm doing.
Well, you guys sound like a match made in heaven. Like I said, that was serendipitous. That's the way it all happened. Things don't happen like that. Sometimes the universe gives you mile markers to let you know you're on the right path. I.e., we live in the same condominium complex. That don't happen like that. So you guys probably were destined for this path that you're on. So how does that work like in your household, especially as it pertains to parenting? How do you parent collectively? Are the stars always aligned, or do you guys sometimes have a source of contention when it comes to parenting, as it can sometimes cause? I spend times I told my husband, like, oh, don't be so mean, even though they deserve it. And he's never said it to me, but I could tell in his mannerisms he think I'm being a little too mean, So, we kind of not argue, but you sometimes say, well, why'd you do that? Or what made you do that? And it's a real headache when you see two people get into it about their parenting styles, because I see that a lot too.
Well, she thinks I'm mean. Yeah, she thinks I'm mean. Oh, you're so mean, all that kind of stuff. But she has never gotten away of my parenting. What I say is what I say, pretty much. I mean, once I say it, that's it. I'm the final word. I mean, she comes to me for the final word. I mean, what I say is what I say. She doesn't really challenge me on, when it comes to, we don't, our kids are grown now, but when they were little, we never got into a rub over that. I mean, she lets me do, she lets me do what I have to do. I mean, she never challenges. She thinks I'm mean. Oh God, you're so harsh, you're so this, you're so that. But other than that, she's never gotten in the way of that. She's, what I say is what I say.
Did you guys have to have that? We're raising, especially with the boys, not necessarily the girls, and even, well, we could say, like, let's flip it around. She may have had this with you, and you may have had it with her, but that conversation, like, I'm raising boys. I'm a boy. I used to be a boy. I know what it takes to raise boys. And then conversely, well, I'm raising girls. I'm a girl. I know what it takes to raise girls. Do y'all have that conversation or butt heads in that?
Yes, we
because
do.
that's what we kind of,
Yeah, we do have that. But when it comes to female stuff, I always conceded to her. So, I always defer to her, and vice versa. When it comes to male stuff, she defers to me. So, I mean, we've never had like I said, my wife and I, we're like the exact opposite. So, I mean, we meet in the middle. We meet in the middle. She's not, X is loud and raunchy and straight to the point. She's a little more subtle. She's a little more laid back. She's a little more caring, a little more feeling, all that kind of crap. So, yeah, she's more like that. So, we've never had a problem with that. We never have. We've never had that problem. Nope.
So, what would you say are the top factors that have allowed you guys to be married as long as you have?
That's a good
Um,
question.
we always try to understand one another. Um, we never go to bed angry. We
Yeah.
try to see the other person's side, even if we disagree, which is often, but we always try to see the other person's side. We one thing my wife and I do more than anything else is we have a life together, but we never try to counter each other's lives apart. Because my wife does her own thing, I do my own thing. I run my business, and she never gets in the way of that. The things that she does, because my wife is she's a cosmetologist, she's an esthetician, she's a professional cook. My wife she do a lot of shit, and I never get in the way of what she does. If she asks for my help, I will help her, but other than that, I don't get in the way. I've never tried to isolate my wife and make it so, oh, you can't have friends and all this kind of crap, and she doesn't do that to me. We have lives together, but we also have a life. We have a life outside of each other as well, and every now and then they may happen to commingle, but we always keep that kind of separate, and we never impose on each other's separate lives that we have apart from what we have together. So
Let's talk about this never go to bed angry thing. I like to see a real life example of that. I'm asking for a friend.
mhm. Yeah, we don't well,
What does that
see,
really look like?
well, what I try to do mostly, I mean, me and my wife and myself, I mean, of course we argue sometimes. I mean, most couples argue, but we always we always seem to get over it, and she's usually the initiator of the getting over. Me, I'm a little different. She done piss me off, I'll just go and go to my shop and go do something. But she's always the one who kind of like tries to smooth it over, and she'd be like, oh, you still mad, that kind of stuff. And my wife is really sweet when she want to be. She know how to turn on the damn charm. That's something she know how to do. So, she can usually charm me over most of the damn time. 99% of the time, she could charm me right over, no matter how much she done pissed me off. She usually manages to charm my ass over, before the day's end. So she knows how to push my buttons. Yeah, she knows that. She knows how to push my buttons. She knows how to, kind of make me not be as upset as I was earlier today. She knows how to do that. She's mastered it somehow. Yeah, she's good at that shit.
Yeah. That's one thing you got to be good at if you want longevity in your marriage. You got to be able to sort of swallow it and come to terms. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with everything the other one says, but you do have to get over the anger part of it. You know what I'm saying? Me and my husband did that. I want to say mostly we were successful with that type of thing. We didn't like to let arguments and anger spill over too long. You know what I'm saying? It's just, all day you just mad at each other. And it's like, I would charm my husband. I would charm him. So I know where you're coming from with with her doing that because I mastered mine. You know what I'm saying? You know what to do to him to make him not be so mad. And it was always something that it took a lot of effort and it took a lot of swallowing of pride to make sure you're not spilling all that anger over for days on end, no matter what you were arguing about. So that's actually a really good tip, people. If you're listening and in a relationship, that is one of the ways you make it work.
Yeah, she knows how to beat me in the head. Yeah, she can beat me in the head with that soft stroke. shit. She know how to do that shit.
We all do, brother X. Don't feel bad. That's part of the reason why you married her, because she was able to tame the savage beast.
I guess. I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well, back to, I guess,
These are some good
parenting.
questions, by the way. Very good
Yay.
questions.
Glad you think
Oh,
so.
thank you. So you often say that one of the biggest problems with Black people is that we kind of lack education, and not just education in school, but like in other factors. So I was wondering, in raising your children, what was the top priority with raising your sons in terms of education, and what was the top priority for your daughters?
Um, when I was a young guy, I was actually a Muslim. So they grew up in a Muslim type setting. Um, I, I raised them, in in Islam. So I would say that it was very structured. I gave them a lot of structure when my kids were small, and they talk about this today. I didn't let them watch a lot of television. Um, I always tried to teach them. I always tried to teach them to be cognizant and aware of not just themselves, but also their surroundings. So I was always trying to educate my kids in being able to read the signs of other people and being able to understand themselves. So I always push that on them. And I took notes from my old man. I pretty much did the same thing my old man did. I made sure that my children had chores. I didn't allow them to sleep late. I didn't allow them to sit around the house and just do nothing. That was my thing. My thing was making my children not just independent and smart, but I wanted them to be aware. I wanted them to understand, and I wanted them to grow up to not rely on my ass. So I pushed that a lot. I pushed that, to have your own thing, do your own thing, make your own money, work for what you want, you know, uh parlay on the things that you want. If you have to get something that you need, those are the things that I kind of pushed on them. I pushed that on them heavily, to be independent, have their own, and work for what you want. Don't expect people to give you shit. I mean, that's what I always taught them. Far as how they are now, I mean, I'm a grandfather like 5 times over now, but I wanted them to not have children until they got married. Only one listened, of course. Only one listened. My youngest son, I mean, his kids that he has them with his wife. But my oldest son, he has children with his girlfriend. They're actually still together, but they're not married yet. And my daughter, she has one child, and she's not married to the guy that she had the child with. Now, and I pushed that shit. Now that I pushed, but only one of them listened. Only one listened. So, guess one out of three ain't bad. 33%, something like that. So, Lady Classic, I see you down there.
She probably still getting ready.
Well, let's take it to the streets real quick. We've been talking about this Ray Ray and Pookie thing. Well, we've decided collectively you're probably a hybrid between the two. So we
Somewhat.
want to hear your best Ray Ray story and your best Pookie story.
Well, believe it or not, I like I told y'all, I was raised in a nuclear family, but I did a lot of fucking up. I did a lot of fucking up, and shit. I think my greatest Ray Ray and Pookie story was when I was a young guy. I must have been maybe 17, 17. I had to be like 16 or 17 because I didn't have a car yet. And I used to go to another town because when I was younger in Long Island, it was a big thing to, date women from other towns. And I was raised up in Suffolk County. So I would go on the other side of the county, to, you know, be around chicks. So I had caught the bus about 5 towns over, and I went to see, some girls. Now, the town that I was in, we had just got to fighting with these guys at our high school basketball game 2 weeks ago. But I'm a Ray and Pookie, so I don't care. I'm in their town and I'm trying to hit chicks off in that town, and I'm there by myself. So I go and I'm hanging with the chicks all day, and it comes time for me to catch that last bus. So I go uptown and I'm at the arcade, and the bus isn't coming for another 20, 30 minutes. So I'm inside the arcade, and who walks into the arcade? Like 8 guys that we had just got to fighting with a couple of weeks ago, and I'm all by myself. But I did have 238s on me at the time. So I just left out the arcade. I just left, and I walked around the block. Okay, I walked around the block, and I knew they were behind me. I could hear them. So I just started walking faster. As I start walking faster, they start walking faster. So now I'm running. Now they're running. So I'm running full speed, because, I know I got these guns, but I don't want to pull them out. And I run around the damn corner. And when I run around the corner, I run right in between. You know how they have two tractor trailers backed in, off of their wheels. And I run right in between them shits, and I'm trapped when I turn the corner. So I turn the corner, and there's nothing for me to do. So I just take the guns out. And when they turn the corner and start heading, I just start shooting in the air. So they just scattered. They just started scattering. So I just ran, and I'm running up the road with 2 guns in my hand. Literally 2 guns in my hand.
Desperado.
And I'm running. And I get to where the bus is, and I get on the goddamn bus with the 2 guns in my damn hand. And when I jump on the bus driver's like, "Long day, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I just stick the guns in my pants, put the chains in the damn bus, and just go home. Yeah, just go home.
Close call.
Yeah, back then, seeing a guy with a gun out there wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't. And I got on the bus with the 2 guns in my hand, and the bus driver was like, "Rough day, huh?" I said, yeah. And I just put the guns in my pants, put the chains in the and rolled home. Yeah.
Oh my
Well, you do this shit.
But like BGS said, that's an example of a Ray story. Let's hear your Pookie story. I expect to hear a whole lot less violence and a whole lot of loving.
Well, the Pookie story was I was a little older, and I met this chick, and I'll never forget her because she had a male's name. Her name was Willie Jean, and I met her. We got up, and went to her house, had sex with her, banged her out. I was there with her for like a couple hours, and I left. Right, got in my car and I left. Went up to the gas station about 2 blocks over, and who do I see? I see her sister there. And she's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "What's up? What you doing?" She was like, "Nothing." She was like, "Can you take me for a ride?" Of course, I say yes.
Of course.
So she gets in the car, and we go up like to the Sound, because everybody used to park at the Sound by the bay, and be with girls and shit. So I drove her right to the Sound, and I had sex with her too. And I had just had sex with her sister, like, not even an hour and a half.
Wow.
That's a pretty story.
Before that, yeah. So that's my Pookie story. Yeah.
That's a perfect segue into the next question. What's your biggest regret?
My biggest regret is not moving to Mexico. Um, when I was younger, I worked for a company called TRW, and I had worked for them for a while. I was actually a manager there, and the company moved to Mexico, and they had offered me a house, and they told me, I could bring the kids and the wife and everything else, and I didn't do it. I didn't do it because my children were still small. And I was afraid to take my kids to Mexico because they were little, and they didn't know the language and all that kind of stuff. But I think that if I had did it, it would have been a good thing. I think it would have been a good thing. I regretted it about 6 months after I said no. So that's one of my biggest regrets, that I didn't take that leap, but I was a young guy, I was in my 20s, I wasn't really, a man for real, so, I was kind of skittish, kind of nervous, afraid of going somewhere that spoke a different language and all that kind of stuff. So, I let the fear of the unknown get the best of me, because I was a young guy, I was like in my 20s. So I let the fear of the unknown get the best of me. So I do really regret that. I do regret that I didn't go ahead and just, take that leap and, all that kind of stuff. That's my biggest regret out of everything. Out of everything.
Mm. Did you ever eventually make it out the country?
No. I've been all over this country, but I've never been out of it. I plan to before I'm dead. I want to go to Brazil. I actually want to see that statue of Christ the Redeemer on Mount Cornicova. It's one thing I want to see before I'm dead. I want to see that statue in real life. So I'm planning on doing that within the next year or two. Actually, I'm actually going to go to Brazil. I want to go to Rio de Janeiro, and I want to go and look at that statue on Mount Cornicova, Christ the Redeemer. I want to see it.
You going by yourself, or are you taking your wife?
I'll probably take her. When we go, we'll probably go in a group. It'll probably be, her, me, probably one of her old jackass friends and their husband. It'll be something like, yeah, it's gonna be something. Yeah, it's gonna be something like that. Yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna be some group shit. It'll be some group shit. It is. It'll be some shit like that.
Okay.
So since that was your biggest regret to date, what do you feel has been your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment besides my kids is starting my own business. I didn't do it. I always wanted to do it. I didn't do it until 4 years ago, and I actually wanted to do it long before that. I think that's my greatest accomplishment, to be able to have my own business and call my own shop, my own shots, do my own thing, create my own money. I don't have to rely on a 9 to 5. If I don't want to go to work today, I just don't. If I don't feel like doing anything, I don't. So, that's my greatest accomplishment, because I have, a decent amount of financial freedom. I can show up and go pick my wife up out of nowhere and be like, come on, woman, let's go. I don't have to worry about, a boss or nothing like that. I think that's my greatest accomplishment, because I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to start my own business ever since I was in my 20s, but the time never seemed right. The money wasn't there. I had the kids, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of put it on the back burner, till a few years ago, because at 4 years ago, my youngest was 15. So, by then, my other ones, they were older, they were on their own, they were in college and living on their own, they were doing their own stuff. So I didn't have to worry about them. So I only had her to worry about. So the time was right, and I did it. So, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad, because if I hadn't have done it, I would be still working for somebody who wouldn't be paying me what I'm worth, and I'd have to have people telling me what to do as opposed to asking me. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Well,
always
good for
been
you.
my.
Congratulations on that financial freedom and peace of mind.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish I had done it sooner, though. I really do. I wish I had done it sooner, but you know.
Well, what stopped you from doing it sooner? Was it the radio? Because you spoke about being on the radio in the past.
Yes, I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on. See, what y'all have to understand about X is that I got a lot of irons in the fire. Um, I do a lot of things. You know, I do a lot of things. A lot of people rely on me. I have a lot of women around me. My wife, you know, because my wife has a daughter. You know, I have a stepdaughter. My wife has a daughter. I have her sisters. I have my sisters. I have my daughters. So, you know, they rely on me for a lot of shit, you know, and they always, you know, I'm always doing shit. You know, they always need me for this, need me for that, need me for this, need me for that. Now it's gotten better over the last few years because I've been putting the brakes on a lot of that shit. But the reason why I didn't start it sooner is because the money. The money wasn't really there, and neither was the opportunity. When I came to North Carolina, because I've only been in North Carolina I've been in North Carolina for 4 years, and I could have started it in New York, but it would have took a lot more. It would have took a lot more money. I would have had to jump through a lot, you know, many, many more hoops than I do here. In North Carolina, it's a little different. You don't have to jump through as many hoops, you know, to get your business started. The tax base is different. The housing market and commercial real estate market is different. If I was doing this in New York, the taxes, the real estate, the overhead costs of the lights and all that stuff would be killing me. Yeah, it would be killing me up there, you know, because of where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because before I came down here, I actually lived in Hudson Valley, and the tax base up there is absurd. So, you know, I just wouldn't have been able to pull it off up there. You know, I was able to do it down here with a lot less, probably about 50%, you know, 40 to 50% of what I would have needed in New York. I was able to do it here. You know, it was just,
Mm-hmm.
it was a, it
Mm-hmm.
was, it was more congruent to my lifestyle, and it was easier to do. And it helped the fact that, you know, I only had the one child, you know, to take care of. You know, all of that played
Mm-hmm.
a part in it as well. You know, it's hard to do things when, you know, it's hard to do things when you got a lot of kids and you got responsibilities, and, you know, you got a house to hold up and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it wouldn't have been prudent for me to just stop working, you know, and try to start a business, you know, because I had too much stuff I was holding up. So I had
Mm-hmm.
to I had to make sure some of that stuff had kind of dissipated a little bit. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
kids were grown. We moved down here. You know, things were a little cheaper. Uh, my wife, you know, she started her thing. So, you know, that kind of lifted some of the burden off of me as well. uh you know, all of that played a part in it. You know, the time was right. The time was right, so I did it. I took the leap.
Mm-hmm.
Have you
Yeah.
always had a passion for cars?
I've always had a passion for mechanics. Like I said, you know, I grew up with my old man, and I always grew up around equipment. You know, I was, you know, smelling smoke and engine and gasoline and diesel like all my life. So it just kind of comes natural. And believe it or not, now I don't even work on cars. I'm a power mechanic. I work on commercial equipment. I work on skid steers, payloaders, bulldozers, commercial lawn equipment, motorcycles, outboard motors. I do that. I don't even the only car that I have to work on is my wife's, you know, because you know, she always, you know, want to pull her shit up into my garage. And of
Of
course,
course.
you know,
Of course.
but that's the only car
Look,
that I work on. I don't work on cars. I
You
only I
don't.
only work on
do
cars.
do her like an ex-boyfriend did me. He owned his own car mechanic shop, and he would do the work on my car for free, but
Yeah.
he would make me get down with him while he did it. So I know how to change oil. I could change my brakes if I wanted to. And then we talking back in the day when we were gaping spark plugs type shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like he taught me how to change all that stuff because he would make me get down with him. He did it, but I had to walk away learning something too.
See, my wife ain't even trying to do that. She bring that car up in there and be like, "Oh, just tell me when it's finished," and bounce.
Well, she
Yeah,
done paid the cost to be the
she
boss. I
just,
wasn't paying that many fees. You know what I'm
she,
saying?
she just leave that shit there and bounce. Like, oh, let me know when it's finished. Yeah, so that's the only car that I
Well,
work on. Is hers.
if mechanics is your passion, how did you get started in radio?
Well, I've always been involved with media. I used to have a big old freaking tape recorder. That was back when you talking maybe 20, 25 years ago. I used to have a big ass video camera back when they were like this big and they took the VCR tapes. I used to be the guy that walked around with one of those. So I was always into taping and video and that kind of stuff, but I kind of got away from it, as my, when I started having kids and stuff like that, I got away from it. I got back into it some years ago, and I had did some stuff and actually put it up on Facebook, and the radio station called me from what they saw on Facebook, and they were like, "Man, you got a really, really good radio voice, man. Won't you come down to our
Hmm.
radio station so we could talk?" And
Mm-hmm.
they hired me right on the spot. I went there that day, and they hired me that day. And I worked for that radio station for a couple years until they left, because the guy who owned the station, he actually moved to Maryland. So that's when the radio station kind of collapsed. And what he did is he took the radio equipment, he gave it all to me. He gave it to me. I have it here. I have the broadcasting equipment. I have it all here. And yeah, I mean, that's how I got into doing this YouTube stuff, because I didn't really get into this YouTube stuff until radio, because
Mm-hmm.
a radio station, they had a YouTube presence, and they had a you now presence. So many times when we were on the radio, they would be simulcasting on you now and YouTube. So I started, that's when I started getting into YouTube, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and make my own channel. But I had started this media stuff in like 2011, 2012, a while back. uh
Were you taping lectures or something?
No, actually, I was pretty much doing what I do now. You guys see my videos, and I'm always talking about some type of topic. What got me started in it seriously was actually Hadia Pendleton. And I know you ladies from Chicago know who she is.
Yes, we do.
Yes. The Hadia Pendleton story really got to me, because when I saw that child, she reminded me so much of my daughter. She actually looks like my daughter a little bit. And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start talking about this stuff. Because believe it or not, when I first started out doing like media stuff and on YouTube and stuff like that, I talked about a lot of the stuff that was going on in Chicago, in Detroit, in New York. I talked about a lot of that stuff. I talked about the killings. I talked about police brutality. I talked about police shootings. That was like my shtick when I started. Killings of young folks, police killings, police brutality. I mean, that was like all I really talked about when I started it. And when what started it was Hadia Pendleton. She started it. She started all of it. That story. Because like I said, she reminded me so much of my daughter. She was the same age as my daughter. So I was like, I just got to get up here and talk about this stuff. And it has grown. It has evolved into what it is now. Because like I said, all I used to talk about was police killings, shootings, and shootings in Chicago, and shootings in New York. I actually used to, because I was living in New York at the time, and I used to actually go and I remember one distinctly, Kamani Gray, when Kamani Gray got killed in Brooklyn. I actually went down there and covered it, because the day after it happened, I actually went to Brooklyn. And I was down there. I taped the riots. I taped the protests, and back then all I had was like a little tiny bullshit camera that was like a $10 camera, and I went down there and I taped it. I talked to people. I did interviews and all that shit. And it just kind of evolved, it evolved, I mean, into what it is now. because back then all I had was that little tiny camera. I had that little tiny camera, a little bullshit computer. And what I used to do is I used to take that little camera and I would put it in front of like a poster, and I would just be talking behind it, and had some, some bullshit music that I had made off of some music program, and I would just talk behind it. But now it's evolved into something else. I have like 5 computers, I got radio equipment, I got like 6 or 7 different cameras, so it's grown over the years. It's grown some, and it's still growing.
Okay, so we'll just keep this, I guess, to YouTube. Well, I guess we don't have to. Of all the people that you interviewed, who would you say was your favorite or the best interview, and why?
Sister Shahrazad Ali. I've always been a fan of hers. I followed her work, read most of her books for many, many years. Her and I are actually friends now. We've become friends over the years. We actually talk quite often. That's has to be the best interview I've ever had, because I've always wanted to talk. I had a crush on her when I was a young guy, because back in the day,
She's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
Boy, let me tell you something, boy. When she used to come like on the Phil Donahue show and Waldo, I was like, God, that lady is smart. She's fine as a motherfucker too. And boy, I always had a crush on her. And it's crazy how she ended up on my show, because I actually had I was looking to interview someone else, and this person said, well, I know Sister Ali, so maybe you can interview her too, and gave me her email, and I emailed her, and she actually emailed me back. I was like, oh my goodness, Sister Ali actually emailed me back. And I just asked her. I just came out and asked her, because, like I said, X is pretty straightforward and deliberate. I just came out and asked her, would you be interested on? Because this was when I was in the booth, when I was working in the radio booth. That's when I interviewed her the first time. And she said, okay. She said, I'll come on your show. She said, but you got to send me, a couple pieces of your material. Let me look it over, then I'll decide. So, of course, I sent her some of my best shit. And she got back to me like a week later, and she said, when you want me to come on. She must have been impressed with my stuff. And she said, when you want me to come on. And, she came on my radio show, and, we've been cool ever since. I mean, I've had Sister Ali on my show about 3. She's been on my show at least 3 times. I have her personal cell phone number. I can call Sister Ali right now. So, her and I have become quite friendly. And yeah, she's definitely the best interview I've had. Yeah. Hands down.
Okay. All right. Ruby, you okay down there?
Lady Classic is incognito.
Yeah. She is incognito. Okay. So I guess we'll mosey on down our little list.
Please do.
Okay. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be and why?
To change one thing about myself, I would probably make myself a little taller. Yeah. And
you're 6'2".
And a little darker. I've always wanted to be dark.
You have a beautiful skin tone.
I always wanted to be dark. I always wanted to be black. I've always wanted to be black. I'm talking black.
Mahogany. You want to be that.
Because most of my brothers are, they're dark, like dark guys. And I happen to get the fairer skin. I guess I must have got it from my mother, because my father's dark and my mother's more like my complexion. But most of my brothers, my sisters, they have sort of my complexion. But most of my brothers are dark black guys. I always wanted to be darker and taller.
Taller, though.
Yeah.
That one blows me. You're 6'2".
So,
You know, the people who are wishing for your height. I mean, they made a whole song. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Like that's for the 5'8" guys. You know what I'm saying?
I wish I was taller and blacker. Taller and blacker.
Oh, that's funny.
Definitely
Yeah,
blacker.
that's definitely blowing me about the tall.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, he looked tall just sitting in his seat.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually pretty tall, especially around other guys. I mean, it's not a whole. I mean, it's not a whole lot of guys that are too far over 6 feet necessarily.
Not at all. 6'2"
He
is
just
nothing to
wants to
sneeze
intimidate
at.
people
True.
more than what he does.
I don't
Well, did you
That's
I don't like the fact that my son is taller than me. I don't like that.
Oh, well, there it is.
now
I don't
you
like
get to see how your father probably felt looking up
yeah.
like, look,
I
my
don't like that.
son taller than me. Look at
Yeah, because he's like 6'5". I mean, he's a tall dude. So I don't like
that.
that. Yeah, I don't really like that. Yeah.
Has he tried to step to you because of that?
Nah. My sons are
Mm-hmm.
very they're very respectful of male authority. But that's how I trained them to be very respectful of male authority. You know, their grandfather, and you know, they understand the chain of command. That they do. They're very understanding of that. My daughters too. But my brothers and my sisters likewise, because they were raised by the same guy I was raised by. So, you know, they have great understanding. I mean, all my sisters are married, you know, so you know they understand things.
Mm-hmm.
They understand
That's
things.
interesting because
But
usually a
mhm.
man with sons, especially more than a couple sons, it's always that one that's gonna buck, and then you kind of almost got to
Mm-hmm.
put the flute top on him, let him, let get his mind
Mm-hmm. The
right.
foo fops. I
Like
haven't heard that in
I'm
a minute,
old,
Kendra.
Oh Lord.
run up
Never,
on me, young
She
buck.
said the foo fops. I haven't heard
uh,
that in so long.
never had that problem. I never had that problem with my sons. Never had that problem with them.
Well, God
Well,
bless you.
before we move forward, I want to go back a little bit to radio a little bit. I worked in radio for a minute when I lived in St. Louis. I was an account executive selling airtime, and I had a lot of fun. What's your best memory working at the radio station? Because the on-air personalities probably had way more fun than I did.
Um, the best fun I ever had was the best fun I ever had is cause when I was on the radio, you know, I had many co-hosts, you know, I went through quite a few of them. But one
Literally or figuratively?
no, literally, I went through quite a few co-hosts. I mean, cause I always had a
Let
few
me
people.
rephrase.
Right?
Sexually or
No, no,
wait. Let me rephrase. Did
no,
sexually or
no,
like they
no,
really left?
no. I went through quite a few of them. If you like look at my old archives, you know, you if you go like way back in some of my YouTube stuff, you'll see where I had someone named Jasmine. She was my first co-host, and then I had someone called Lady Self Made. You know, so I went through quite a few co-hosts. But the most fun I had is one night that I had Sarah Ratliff on my show, and
Okay.
those of you who don't know who Sarah Ratliff is, she's the one who wrote the book. I think Beyond Black and White. Yes, Beyond Black and White, and she was going on her quote unquote book tour, and she had been booked to come on my radio show. And you know, I had Lady Self Made, and Teach was there too, and
Mm-hmm.
it was her, and it was another lady, another author, and they specialize in writing about being biracial. You know, actually, I think no, it was the title of the book was being biracial beyond black and white, something like that. It was called, and they were on there promoting the book, and they came on there, and you know, they were talking about how, you know, they use their quote unquote whiteness at times, and then they use their blackness at other times. And that pissed the ladies off. That pissed the full black women off. So, they had this big old back and forth. And me, I was just sitting back laughing at the shit because, it was a cat fight. It was like a cat. It was like a radio cat fight. And eventually, Sarah Ratliff just ended up leaving, and she ended up going on Twitter, and she wrote this crazy vlog, man, about how we were black nationalists, and that I had ambushed her, and set her up, and had these girls laying in wait for her and all this kind of nonsense, right? So of course I clapped back on that, and I made a video. If you look in the old archives of TPOT, you will find it. And I clapped back on her and her friend pretty hard, and it was actually fun doing it. So if you get a chance, go through my archives and check that video out. And it was actually really fun making it. Yeah.
Well, besides Miss Ratliff, any other diva stories you got?
I'm trying to think. Any other? I haven't had many problems with all the guests that have come on my show. She's the only one where we had like these problems with them coming on. And I've had a lot of guests. I've had guests since I've been on YouTube. I had a lot of guests on my radio show. I've had a lot. I've never had problems, though. I've never had problems with my guests. I try to minimize the problems, and a lot of my guests are females. So I don't know if y'all can tell this or not, but I have somewhat of a way with ladies. So I never had problems with them. I haven't had any lady problems, to be honest, except that one. Problems. I have a way with women. Somewhat.
Well, let me see here. So you mentioned you were a part of the Nation. How did you become a part of the Nation of Islam?
Actually, I started in the NOI first, then I drifted off and got into Islam itself. I started out in the NOI basically on a whim, because it just was what was everybody was doing it, and as that went along, I got tired of it, because the circles that I traveled in the Nation of Islam, they were using the Nation of Islam not as a cultural thing. It was more or less to put themselves above others and to ostracize others. So I got away from that. And that's when I became a Muslim, got into Islam. I liked being a Muslim. I really did. I enjoyed being a Muslim. I enjoyed the culture of it. I enjoyed, studying the Quran. I really enjoyed it. I got away from it because I got disenfranchised with religion. Now, I'm a guy who grew up. Yeah, you're right, Brother Valdez. Brother Valdez got into it with a few of my female co-hosts.
Yeah, I saw those. I was going through your catalog and watched that.
I think I know what thing you're talking about.
Brother Valdez is my co-host. But I started drifting away from religion, because I was raised up, in a Baptist setting, because I was raised, I tell people this all the time, I was raised up by church folks. I was raised up by ministers and bishops and Sunday school teachers. And, I had those people in my family. So when I was a young guy, man, I was probably in and out of more churches than the average person. And I just got disenfranchised with religion over a course of time. I just, religion just was, I don't know. I always felt like if there is a God, I don't need someone to tell me how to worship him, how to believe in them. I just didn't want that anymore. So I just drifted away from all religion, all of it. I drifted away from every bit of it. I'm not a religious person at all. I'm really not.
Well, a question from the chat. Nawalt Black Swan says, has the Nation of Islam changed since you initially joined? And has the change been for the better or worse?
I think it's a little more structured now than it was, say 25 years ago. I mean, it's definitely more structured now than it was back then. Back then, it was kind of loose. It was kind of loose. The circles that I traveled in, I don't know when you talk about the Nation of Islam in a whole, I don't know, but the circles I traveled in and the circles that I was involved with, it was loose. It was basically just a ploy to get women's draws off, and that kind of stuff. So I got disenfranchised with that because of that. And the crazy thing is, when I came into Islam, it was a lot of the same thing. A lot of people who were at the top of Islam, they were sleeping with young girls and doing all this kind of nonsense. They was taking money from fundraisers and all this kind of stuff. So it's just, I got disenfranchised with that too, because it all seemed like the same crap that I had saw as a young person in the Christian faith. I saw the same stuff in the NOI. I saw the same stuff in Islam. I saw the same stuff that I saw when I was growing up, being raised in this whole baptismal setting, if you will. I saw the same stuff, just under a different umbrella.
Did you and your wife raise your children with any type of spiritual bent?
Well, my wife is a little more religious than me, because her father he's dead now, was an Israelite. So she comes at things from more of an Israelite perspective. I guess that's why she's how she is. She's a little more into, I don't want to call her religious. I don't want to call her that, but she's a lot more spiritual than her damn husband, for sure. Yeah, she's a lot more spiritual than I am, by a long shot.
If you had to put a label, if you just had to label where you are spiritually, how would you label yourself? Would it be agnostic? Would it be atheism? Like what would you label yourself if you just had to?
Well, I'm not an atheist. I can't consider myself an atheist because I believe there is a God. I'm not sure of where that God is, what that God is, or what that God's premise is as far as human beings are concerned. So I wouldn't call myself an atheist because I believe there is a God. I believe there is a higher power. So I am a non-religious believer. That's what I would rate myself as, a non-religious believer in not God, but a God exist. That's the best way I can.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page with that, you and I. If you were to create your own religion, what would it be like? And if you had to affix a label, or whether it falls under, Baptist or Pentecostal or Methodist or something like that, where would it land?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know, because see, this is the thing. When you think about religion, especially when you talk about Christianity, I think Christianity, the biggest turnoff from Christianity is Christians. They're the biggest turnoff from Christianity is Christians, because Christianity is so not only is it somewhat anecdotal, it's somewhat hypocritical, because whatever Christians tell you to do, a lot of them aren't doing it. And the things they tell you not to do, they're knee deep in it. So it's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I think Christianity is probably the least, like, if I was to get involved with a religion again, it definitely wouldn't be Christianity. I can tell you that. It wouldn't be that. I'd be more likely to return to Islam, or maybe lean more towards an Israelite type of thing. That's what I would do if I was to return back to religion. It definitely would not be Christianity. I can tell you that. No type of Christianity would I even think about ever being involved with. I grew up around it. I know it's full of crap. It's full of crap.
It's full of crap. But where do you feel that like Buddhism falls in there? Because I find that in what I've looked at when I've read up on Buddhists and things like that, it kind of almost runs alongside other religions. It's almost like no-brainer principles for how to live on the earth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Buddhism? Well, Buddhism is interesting. It's interesting. Me personally, I don't think I would get involved with it. I've known a few Buddhists. You know, they were very peaceful, serene people. But it's a religion. So it's just like any other religion. I guess you get out of it what you put into it. But like I said, I've known a few Buddhists, and they've actually, tried to convince me. Oh man, you should, but I can't be convinced of when it comes to religion. There is no convincing for X. Okay, it's just not going to happen. Whatever I do, I'm going to do on my own volition. You're not going to come to me and hit me in the head with a Bible and make me go to church. You're not going to, you're not going to come and hit me in the head with the Quran and make me go to the mosque. That's not going to happen. It's just not. My goal is going to be on my own volition. But Buddhism is interesting. I like some of the principles. I disagree with some of them. Some I agree with. But likewise with all religions. Some I agree with. Some principles I agree with. Some I disagree with. So, that's pretty much how it goes for all religions.
Well, what were your best and worst memories of each religion that you've ever practiced?
Well, let's start with Christianity. When I was a young guy, like I told you, my father, he was into the landscape and stuff. So, we would cut the grass at the church that we went to, do the hedges and trim, all that kind of stuff. So, we were affiliated with the church. And we would go to church on Sunday, right? And we would go twice. We go twice a day, in the morning and the afternoon too. And, everybody would be in there, and they'd be doing the Holy Ghost and falling out and slobbing and spitting and talking in tongues and all that kind of stuff. And in the evening, I actually would go and work at something called a juke joint. I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again. They had juke joints where I was at. And what the juke joint was a place where, they had a jukebox, and sometimes, they might even have a live band in there, where they played, blues music and some old jazz, BB King type stuff. And I would go in there and I would actually wait tables. Now I was like maybe 9 years old, 10 years old. I would go in there, I would wait tables. And back then, children could actually go to the store and buy cigarettes for adults. And they would send me, off to the store to buy cigarettes. I was basically like a little gopher, make a few dollars. You go in there for a couple hours as a 9-year-old kid, you could make like $15-20 when you were rich. It's like you were rich because you would make $20. And when you go in there, you would see those same people who you saw in church earlier, slobbing and spitting and doing the Holy Ghost and talking in tongues. They'd be doing the same thing in the juke joint, except they'd be drunk. and they'd have on the same church clothes, and they'd be falling and spitting and speaking in tongues, but inside the juke joint underneath the influence of alcohol. And that kind of turned me off from Christianity too, because these same people who you saw doing the Holy Ghost and falling out and doing all this kind of stuff, they're in the juke joint, they're hanging all over men, they falling all over the floor, they drunk, they acting a fool, they cussing, and they just left church like 2 hours ago. So that kind of disenfranchised me too. That kind of disenfranchised me too with Christianity. That's the craziest thing I would ever see, you know, especially the women. I
Yeah.
mean, the women were very disappointing. Yeah, they were very disappointing when I was a young guy. Yeah, very disappointing. Yes.
Nawal Black Swan has a follow-up question for you. She
Yes.
asks if you can explain the Hebrew Israelite faith, and is it a combo of Judaism and Christianity? Then after that, someone else has a question too.
From what I understand, yes. Uh, more so Israelite though than Christianity, because see, they believe in things that Christians don't. You know, they take the one thing I can say about Israelites, because my man Black Ram 313 is an Israelite. And him and I, you know, we talk often, and he, you know, he gives me some insight into being an Israelite. I think that being a Hebrew Israelite is probably one of the most effective lifestyles for Black people, aside from Islam. And if you ask me, if Black people are going to practice a religion, it should be either Israelite or Islam. That's just me. Y'all get mad at me and send me hate mail if you want to, but that's my opinion. I believe Islam and the Israelite religions are probably the best religions suited for Black folks. That's just what I think. Yeah, the Israelite religion, I'm not too familiar with it. I only know what I know, you know, through my wife and knowing her father. They believe in polygyny, of course. They do believe in polygyny. At least the men do. You know, my wife doesn't believe in that shit, but the men do believe in polygyny. They believe in having, you know, more than one woman and all that kind of stuff. The men lead. Okay, the men lead. The women are submissive and compliant. If I'll tell you this, I'll say this, and I'll say this for Islam as well. And Lady Kendra could probably speak to this better than I can. I believe that if Black people practiced either one of those religions, overall, if those were quote unquote the Black religions, I think Black society would be better. I do. If those were the two religions that Black people practice exclusively, okay, and got off of this Jesus Christ complex that most of us have, I think Black society would be a little more stable and a little more solid if Black people were either Muslims or Israelites. I truly believe that.
Underrated darkness, I'm gonna get to your question, but before we do, because your question takes us off topic a little bit, I want to ask Brother X this one. You touched on polygyny. If you could take another wife, would you? And why or why not?
I don't know. Maybe if I was younger. I probably would, you know, if they were willing to do it. If they were willing, I probably would do it. But now, no. One woman is plenty. Yeah, it's plenty. Yeah, sometimes that's more than enough. Yeah, one's plenty.
Well, what's the value of something like that? We already know the downside. I mean, anybody with a thinking brain know what the downside of having two women can be. But what's the upside in your opinion?
I believe that the upside would be a more complete household, and the wives would always have help with the children. Okay. The children benefit. Okay. Even if the one thing that I agree with, with, you know, these polygynous relationships, and a guy may have 4 and 5 wives and a bunch of kids. One thing that all those kids have is a father. They may have multiple mothers, but they have a father who's right there with them. Because when you think about it, in black society, don't we practice damn polygyny anyway? Where you got one guy who got 10 baby mamas. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic, y'all. We
Let's get
already,
harmonious.
yeah, we already do it. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
some of those kids don't get the benefit of having a father around. Some of those
Mm-hmm.
kids don't get to know their father. Imagine if you took that dude who had those 5 baby mamas, put them in a house, right? Think about it. You put them in a house. All those kids have their father there to influence them, instruct them, guide them, teach them integrity, honor, respect, self discipline. And not only that, every one of those women who wanted to pursue something could, because they could do shifts with the babies while one go to school, the other one could work, and one watch the kids, and when they come home she can go to work or school. I mean, it would function if you organized it. You know what I'm saying? If it was organized, everybody would benefit. Everybody would benefit. They just would, especially the kids. I mean, like I said, most of us are doing it anyway. If you got a baby with a guy who has 5 baby mamas, 5 other baby mamas, and y'all kids are close in age, guess what? All that is some quasi demented form of polygyny, because he was banging all of you at the same time anyway. That's what he was doing. I mean, come on. That's what he
That's
was
true.
doing. That's what he
That's
was doing.
true. And your answer is a perfect segue into Underrated Darkness's question, because you touched on the benefit of it being about the children and about having a father in the home to raise them with the proper values, morals, and just the things that they need in order to grow into manhood. His question was, why is the brotherhood in our community so broken? Why do you think that is?
I think the brotherhood in our community is broken due to no male structure, or very little male structure, because men aren't born, they're not made, they are built. Okay. Men are built just like a building, just like a car in a factory, just like a sandcastle on a beach. Men are built. Okay. They don't just appear. Um, there's a lack of that. I think that there is way too much feminine energy in black society, and that feminine energy has somewhat taken over black society, and it has taken over a lot of our young men, because these are the people they're being trained and raised by. I don't want to jump on the single mothers, but I will. uh a lot of these women they're failing in their responsibilities. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of irresponsible brothers out there, okay, who, squirting these women, and then that's it. They done knocked her up and they just kind of disappear and move on. But my problem with the single mothers is this, and not to get too far off of it, but my problem is that a lot of these women who are now stuck with these children, especially the male children, I don't think they put enough effort into getting male influence into these young men's lives. They haven't put forth enough effort. They haven't deferred to a uncle or a brother or a grandfather, or a dude they know at work, or something. They haven't deferred to males for male stuff, and I think that has hurt black society over the course of the last 5 or 6 decades, because what young men have to defer to now, they have to defer to their mom. And I don't believe that a young male should be deferring to his mom for everything. So if you have males growing up where they always defer to mama, they start to take on the mama ideology, and they will start to deal with things in a way that mama would deal with them. And that's a very dangerous thing for a man to have uh emotional reactions similar to a woman. Okay, a man's bigger, he's stronger, he's more powerful, he could do more damage. So I think that that is a dangerous thing for men to have ideologies that are similar to women. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of these young men that are growing up, that's what's happening to them. um when you have young men shooting each other because someone stepped on a sneaker, if you have young men ready to stab someone because they looked at them wrong, when you think back and you look, men, we're not like that. A man isn't going to shoot you. If someone stepped on my brand new Brooks Brothers shoes, I'd be pissed. Yeah. They spilled a drink on them. Yes, I would be pissed, but I wouldn't be ready to shoot them or stab them or kill them. Okay. You have young brothers killing folks over infinitesimal things. Now, these are emotional reactions. These are not mental processes. These are emotional reactions. When you got a kid who's ready to stab somebody because they stepped on his Jordans, man, that's an emotional ideology that he has picked up from somewhere. And you don't pick those things up from men, because men are not like that. You're picking them up from mama, grandma, auntie, whoever. You're picking those things up, and now you carry that energy within you. You carry that female energy, but you carry a penis. So I think that that is major. I believe that a lot of young males coming up, without male energy, without any male structure or male guidance, I think that that has played a big part in how black society is as far as the male brotherhood goes, because men have become catty, and catty is a female characteristic. Okay, that's a female characteristic. Catty, there should be no catty men, none, but there are plenty of them. And that's why these young brothers are dying in the street. That's why these young brothers can't make it to 25. That's why these young brothers find themselves not doing the things that men should do. And I believe that the feminine energy that they carry within them plays a big part in that. That's what I believe.
Okay. I totally agree with everything you just said. Um, so since we're sort of talking about manhood, and you said a man is built, which I believe, if you were to let's say you had a time machine, you could go back and talk to young X. You got 5 minutes. What's the most important man lesson he should know?
Think with your mind and not your penis.
Well, that was 5 seconds. When are you gonna tell him for the rest? The other 455.
Think with your mind and not your penis. That would be the first
over
thing
and over again.
Yeah,
Like, just put that on repeat.
Make sure you're thinking with your mind and then not your penis. I would also tell him to not be afraid of the unknown. That's something that I kind of had a fear of. I was a little shaky when it came to, especially when I was a young dude. I wasn't much of a risk taker the way I am now. As I got older, like when I got to be like 30, I didn't mind taking risks. In my younger years, I wasn't too keen on taking risk. Anything that I couldn't kind of predict the outcome of, I tried to stay away from. I wasn't a risk taker. Now I am. So I would tell them to take more risk, man. Jump out there more, and think with your mind, not your penis. Yeah, I'd make sure I would reiterate that one. Yeah, that one I would bang home.
Well, I agree with everything you said about the brotherhood and why it's broken in our community. So That leads me to the question of, well, what would you deem the call of action should be to the young brothers? And does that call of action differ depending on what generation you're speaking to, such as the baby boomers, Gen X, and the millennials? Would that call of action change? But more
Um,
importantly, just what is it? What is it that these brothers need to be out here doing? Like for real, for real.
well, one thing brothers need to be doing, we need to be, and I say we because my black ass is included in it too. We need to be, and I talked about this. I talked about this the other night with brother Jay Shine. I think that we need to think with our minds and not our penises, for starters, and also we need to accept whatever decisions that we make. We need to be able to live with them. We often talk all the time, we talk to baby mamas and all that kind of stuff. I mean, those baby mamas didn't get made by themselves. So brothers who have, inserted their penis in somebody, even if it's somebody you don't like, you need to be able to you should be able to go ahead and accept the decision that you made and act accordingly. Even if it means dealing with someone that you may or may not get along with for the sake of the child that you help create. I believe that. I also believe that brothers need to be taking a little more responsibility for their own selves, especially young guys. And women have a big part to play in this too. I'm not gonna leave the women out.
Mm-hmm.
I think women should be a little more invested into their children in a whole, and definitely their sons. I think
Mm-hmm.
that we should stop trying to we should stop spreading the message that, or should I say, co-signing the message that, one day, some man's gonna come in and take care of you and your 5 and 6 kids, because we know that that's not reality. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
That ship has sailed. Okay. As a woman, if you find yourself saddled with 4 and 5 and 6 kids right now, we shouldn't be trying to persuade this woman or convince this woman that some man is going to come in and save her, because we know that that's really not reality. If it is, it's a far off exception. What we should be trying to convince these women to do is to save their children and save themselves on their own. That's what we should be trying to persuade. We should be persuading these women to get others involved with these children if you can. We should be persuading them to get themselves together. We should be persuading them to ask for help. And when I say ask for help, I don't just mean, the government. We should be persuading them, like I said, to try to make things better for their children and themselves as well. That's what we should be encouraging these women who are raising the next generation up for. I mean, we should be encouraging these women to save themselves and save their children. Get their mind off of the next penis, get their mind off of the damn wigs and weaves and red bottom shoes, and be more focused on those children. Granted, you're not a man. You're never going to be a man. But men. Obviously, men. I mean, you know men. Just like you can get out there and shake your ass and get a man for you. You need to be trying to bring some male energy to your children. And every
Mm-hmm.
man that you run into don't need to see your damn vagina. Okay?
Mm-mm.
Every man you meet don't need to see your damn pussy. I mean, come on, you you need to, if you trying to, this is the thing. This is the thing. Now, like I said, it's easy for a woman to get out there and shake her ass and get a man for her, right? You get out there, shake her ass, get a man for her. So why can't you, okay? And I'm not saying just walk up to any old man that you see standing at the bus stop. I'm talking about, a coach, somebody at the Boys and Girls Club, somebody at the YMCA, a karate instructor, a football coach, somebody, and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
look, you're a woman, you got 3 sons, all their fathers smoke crack, they don't give a damn about them. You say, hey, look, you roll up and you say, hey, look, I got these 3 sons, I'm a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do nothing with these boys. Would you
Mm-hmm.
take them into your karate class? Would you take them into your fishing program? Would you let them play pop one a football, a pop one a
Mm-hmm.
basketball, a pee wee league baseball? And let me tell you, ladies, something. The ones that's listening and got all these little babies and think that every man you run into got to see your damn crotch. If you were to walk up and roll up on a man with that kind of energy and he takes you up on that, and I've said this before, that might be the type of damn man your ass want to be dating, instead of dating these damn dudes that just want to get your black ass naked and squirt another baby up in your ass and leave you with number 4. I mean,
Real talk.
these are the things we need to do. We need to educate our people more than anything else. We need to educate our people. We need to educate our men about who they are as men and who they should be aspiring to be as men. And likewise, we should be educating our women to not only protect their daughters, but teach their sons. And if you cannot do it, you need to be seeking someone who can help you do it. I mean, I think the main focus, the main focus of the problem should be right where the problem lies, because the problem lies with this, that we as a people, most of us come into this world, unfortunately, without our father around. So what do we have to do? We have to make sure that these children have some degree of male energy and male influence, our daughters as well. I think a lot of us, we don't focus on making sure that our children are better than us. If you are a person, even if you are a person that lives in poverty, your main focus should be teaching your children how to get out of it,
Exactly.
not continuing the cycle. Your main focus should be teaching them how to get out of it. If you are a baby mama, you should be teaching your daughters how not to be a baby mama. You should your sons how not to become a baby daddy. That's where our focus needs to be. We need to start educating our people, and we need to start educating our people in the education of life. Because I'll tell y'all again, y'all know my definition of education. My definition of education is when you go from unaware to aware of your own ignorance about people, places, things, life, and your goddamn self. Once you become aware of those things, because once you're aware of your own ignorance, you only have one choice: to seek knowledge, to seek wisdom, to seek guidance, to seek something. So once you go from unaware to aware of your own ignorance, you will do better. Now you are educated, and you can not only help yourself, you can help those who are within your circle of influence, mainly your children. That's what I think.
Whew. That was good. That was deep. That was so on point. It's so true. And even if the husband is in the home, you still have to get out there and get your sons around other positive male influences as well. Um, like we have our sons in jujitsu, and one of them was acting up in school, and I'm married. My husband is here. He's a great positive masculine alpha role model. But sometimes that message loses its effectiveness when they've heard it from you so often. We were able to rely on the coaches at his doja, his jujitsu, and they sat down and talked to him and gave him, goals and things like that, and it actually worked. So much so to where they asked us if both of my sons could compete in June to represent um, the doja. So, if I'm saying that right, please forgive me if I'm not. But it's important. You have to seek out more. You have to, even if you have a husband in a home, it's just a must, because we have to start building community.
Yes.
And we have to also realize as women the value in the men that we are around, and not just, write them off or overlook them and think we got it handled. You don't. The biggest disservice you can do for yourself is thinking that you know everything, when the reality of it is that you have no idea of what you don't know.
Exactly.
And that's what
Yes.
we tend to do. We got it all figured out, when the truth of it is that we don't.
True. Very, very true.
There's no shame in asking for help, even if your household is two parented. It's okay, because we all
Exactly.
have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. And if your son or your daughter is not thriving and growing because you and your husband have a weakness where she really needs some strength, go find that strength
True. I
and
agree.
help your child.
I agree. I totally agree.
So
I
that's been heavy.
I think
And I know how you do it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think we look for structure in all the wrong places. That's what I think one of
Mm,
our big problems is. We look for structure and influence and guidance in all the wrong places. And that's what we need to reverse more than anything else.
mm-hmm. Absolutely. Brother X, we know how you do it. We know that you like to keep your shows at like 2 hours.
Mhm. We can go
And
till
we're
12
hitting.
if y'all want to. We can go to 12. We can go to 12. And plus, I haven't heard
Okay, so
I haven't
okay,
heard
okay.
anything from Lady Classic at all. Like, she just got her picture up there. Just, I guess she's just here in spirit. I don't know. I thought I was, I was
They
gonna get. I,
kidnapped her.
I thought I was going. I thought I was gonna get some questions from Lady Classic at least. Jesus, she done just went incognito on us. Wow. Yeah, I
I
was kind
think
of looking. I was kind of looking forward to getting some questions from all of you. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
all of you. But if y'all want to cut it short, we can. But we can go to 12 if y'all want to.
We have some more questions. We
Well,
were
let's.
just gonna not,
Well, pull the trigger.
lift up the
Pull,
veil of
pull the
heaviness
trigger.
and get to some fun
Pull
stuff.
the trigger. Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. Pull it.
I don't know, ladies. Which one should we go?
Pull it. Pull it.
um gee, I don't know.
Well, one question we had is, what type of pets? Are you a cat or a dog guy? And that tells us
Dog.
a lot about you. Okay. Woo, thank
Dog.
God.
Dog. I have a very big dog. He's part lab. He's part bull mastiff. He's a huge black dog. Huge. Very big black dog. He's big and black like his owner.
Well, with Blackville versus Nigga Island, who do you think's got it in the war?
Uh, Possibly Blackville, because Blackville would probably be more organized. Nigga Island would be more savage. Blackville would be more organized. They'd be more organized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, so you choose. You gotta choose one sports car and one luxury car that you can stunt in. What you got?
Luxury car, probably a Cadillac STS.
Mm.
4-door, fully loaded.
With a caddy. Huh?
Yeah, caddy. Yeah, fully loaded, have to have the sunroof and the whole nine. Sports car though, more than likely a Porsche. Probably like a Porsche 944 or something.
What about
Something.
old school?
Oh, if I had to get a like an old school car with power,
Mm-hmm.
uh
Mm-hmm.
absolutely 442 Cutlass 442 with the 442 engine in it. Absolutely. Like 75, like a 75 Cutlass 442. I'd take that over
Are
anything.
you are you like trying to aspire to that? Because I know, being that you're into mechanics and stuff like that,
Well,
I'm shocked you don't already have old school.
um actually I'm actually in the process. Good that you say that, because I'm actually in the process of looking for an old Cutlass 442 right now. I'm actually in the process of looking for one of those. Yeah, because I want an old muscle car. I'm more
Mm-hmm.
impressed with those than I am anything else. I would take that. I would take a Chevy Nova. I would take an old Monte Carlo SS, Because what I would do is I would just change the engine in it, and I would put like maybe like a top end Camaro engine in it. I would do something like that. I That's what I really want. I want like an old car. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but that's what I want. So older the better. Older the better.
Would you use a Model T?
If it had a powerful enough engine, yes. I'd have to put a powerful engine in it. I'd have to have a really, really good engine in it. It's the only way I would take it.
Okay.
Okay, I can imagine you having the ears skint back on it on the highway somewhere. I don't know where you be headed, because I love road trips, and I don't even need a car that can go fast. I don't need no car like that, because they ain't gonna catch me. I know that much. It's not gonna happen. I love driving. I love cars. Like my dad grew us up around cars. Like you, I grew up around engine oil, the smell of gas, and him working on a car. Well, he don't even like working on cars necessarily. He like working on trucks, like 18 wheelers and stuff like that. Like he liked doing that kind of stuff. But so I have an affinity for it. He tried to teach me how to work on them, which I learned a few things, some basic stuff, but my attention span wasn't good enough to patiently wait for him to teach me about how to work on the cars and stuff like that. But yeah, I was just wondering what kind of cars you liked.
Well, right now, because of what I do, I'm more of a truck guy. I mean, my wife drives a nice car. She drives a pretty nice car. But right now I'm more into trucks now because, because of what I do. But if I had to buy a car, I would, like I said, I'm in the process of looking for an old Cutlass 442, like a 74 or 75, something like that. Because I'm gonna fix it up. I'm gonna modify the engine. Maybe redo the body. Paint it. Put a shift kit on it. I'm gonna do stuff to it. So, it doesn't really matter how bad a shape it's in. Long as I can get, if I can get it here. If I can get it to where I need it, that's all I need to do. I just need to get it, because whatever it needs done, I can do it. So I just need to get it to my house or get it to my shop. I just need to get it somewhere where I can do what I need to do to it, and it won't take long. Because that's what I really want more than anything else. Like like a 442. That's the car. Yeah, that's the car. 75 442 Cutlass with the soft top. If it's convertible, forget about it. Oh man, if I could get a convertible, that would be too much. But I'll take a soft top too. Yeah, I'll take that.
So, Brother X, what's your astrological sign?
Sagittarius.
Oh, you're a fire sign. Okay.
Can't you tell? Can't you?
I was going to say I should have known you're a fire sign.
Can't you tell?
We something else.
I had
something else.
Wrong. I had you pegged as a Scorpio.
No.
I had it wrong.
See, that's the thing with Sagittarius is we get along with everybody. Yeah, we get along with everybody. You know why? Because we just have that outward projection. We're pretty boisterous. We just pretty much tell it like it is. Because see, with us, you're either hot or cold. There's no middle way with Sagittarius. You either like us or you hate our freaking guts. So, luckily, most people fall on the side where they really like me. I have a few people that hate my guts, but, they don't count. They don't count. So
it's funny because one of my good friends is a Sagittarius. I was just at her wedding this past summer. But also a foe is a Sagittarius. Of mine, one of my foes. And we ain't even really foes, but we just can't get right. And a lot of it is She's jealous and she's not able to share the spotlight.
Mm.
So the other Sagittarius, because Sagittarius be on their shit. You know what I mean? Both of them are. And the other one, though, she's so much so secure that other women don't bother her. They're like a blip on her radar. It doesn't matter. We could share the spotlight. We could both be the center of attention. It's, what you eat don't make her shit. But this other Sagittarius, I didn't realize I was even in freaking competition. Like she just, I don't know, it's just like my presence or me just being there just automatically makes her into a shrieking violet, and she doesn't know how to handle it. And I'm just walking in the door just being me. So I find myself in a competition that I didn't sign up for, because that's not my style.
Do you hate her guts? Do you hate her
Uh-uh,
guts?
I couldn't give two shits less about her, actually. And I don't hate her. We're still Facebook friends, but I wouldn't, she called me the other day by mistake. And I'm like, yeah. And she like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I thought I was calling so and so and so and so. I was like, all right, and hung up the phone. So what do you call that?
Sounds like some gut hating to me. But
Because that shit is weak as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, so it's like they have a lot of similar characteristics. It's just how they choose to display them and use them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I'm not with that at all. So, Brother X, boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Or free balling? Oh, boxers.
Boxers. I never been much for the Superman tighty whitey joints. Ever since I was a young guy, I never wore the punk panties. Nah. Cause my old man wore boxers, so I always wanted to be like my old man. So even as a young guy, I always wore boxers. So can't wear the old tighty whities. Nah, that's not for me. It's trust me, it's not congruent to what I got going on. So
oh my goodness.
It's not congruent to it at all.
You know he was gonna take it there no sooner you asked about his draw.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for me, to be honest. They just, that's it. It wouldn't work. Yeah, they wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Good dog. He was gonna tell you was in his drawers.
Yeah, I like my shit. I like my shit to hang free. My shit can't be crumpled up. You know what I'm saying? I can't roll with the crumple upness. Nah. Dude.
That's funny.
Can't roll like that.
Oh man.
It has to swing free like an elephant trunk.
Our final question.
Go ahead.
Y'all know where I'm headed, y'all, unless y'all got something else.
Go ahead.
No, I ain't got nothing else.
Go ahead.
What's the story behind your locks?
Oh, but these?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I got these because I had wore many different hairstyles. I had bald. When I was younger, I actually had the S curl, high top fade. I used to wear braids, all that. And locks were the only thing I hadn't worn. And my wife tried to get me to do them very early on, in our relationship, because she's a hair person. She said, "Oh, you should have locks," blah blah blah. And I always rebuffed it. I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it." And then I decided, I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it because she likes them. She really was. Oh, you should grow locks. You should grow locks. So I started growing them. I've been growing them now for almost 12 years. Yeah, like 12 years now I've been growing them. But she clips them. She clips the ends every couple of months. She clips like that much. She's like, "Oh, that'll make them grow freer or something or another." So she clips them. If she hadn't clipped them, they'd probably be dragging the floor. They'd be dragging the floor.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at your drapage over the shoulder, and I know how far mine go down, and I know how long I've been growing them. I'll be 7 in November. Even though I had probably 2 years of hair growth period, because I went from a fade to a fro and a bigger fro, and then I locked up. So I guess probably 9 total natural. So yeah, I guess you do got about 12 years worth of length, especially. I mean, I'm sure you about the small of your back.
Yeah.
Almost. You got to be.
Well, they're braided now. They're braided together. They're
Yeah.
braided. They're braided together, so they hang pretty long. And I have my wife do them in certain styles because see what I do. When I'm in my shop, if I have them hanging, they get in my way. And I can't have
Mm-hmm.
my hair falling into an engine main. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to have it so I can get it out of my way so I can work. Because I've had that happen to me before, where my hair actually got caught up into an engine part.
Ooh.
You
No,
know,
no, no, no.
so, I have her do it like this. I can just tie them back and they out of my way so I can work. So,
Can we get a look?
at what? What?
Take the scarf off. Let's see your whole, your dick.
Oh, you want to see my hair?
Yeah, your hair. Yeah. We want to get a look. Oh, sooky now, y'all.
Oh, sookie now. Uh.
Oh, look at you, handsome.
I got to put them back on. I got to put the earphones back on so I can hear y'all.
Look
Look
at
at
you.
you.
Sitting
Yeah.
up there, handsome as you want to be.
You think?
I know, without the scarf. Yeah.
Don't say that. You're going to make me blush. Ah,
Look, with that scarf, because you know how a lot of men to do. They'll have locks, and because they're so long and heavy, they be balling at the top, but they still trying to hang on to,
I
to the
don't want
crown on back.
to see what the way my wife does it. What she does is she
Mm-hmm.
usually fades it out over here.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't done it in like 2 weeks, but she fades it out, she cuts it up, and I only have, the hair here, like the back,
Mm-hmm.
about that long. Back's about that long. And I have the dreads in here. Because usually
Mm-hmm.
this is shaved really, really low.
Okay.
Have it, But I mean, when I take these out, when these are taken out, because these braids, each one of these braids that I have 3 braids, and each one of these braids holds about 30 locks because my locks are kind of
Mm-hmm.
small. It holds about
Mm-hmm.
30, maybe even more locks than that in each braid. When I take it out, they're like,
Oh,
they come
brother
out like
X.
that,
Oh,
sort of like that King
wait
Tut.
for you to put on your headphones.
But I can't rock with that because of what I do. They get in my way.
Oh, brother X, I know exactly like what you mean because when they're wet, they're easy to manipulate and braid and everything like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what she
One.
does. She washes it, she washes it for me. And because when they come out, they're probably down to, if I'm sitting down, they're definitely touching my lap. Yeah, they're like touching my lap. If I was to take them out, they'd be on my lap right now.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd be sitting on my
Okay.
lap. So she tightens
Maybe
it.
I need
Beautiful.
my dreads back because my hair it don't want to grow past a certain length. And I used to have dreads. I ended up cutting them off, but maybe
Y'all made me
I'm.
take off my damn lock sock. Now I gotta refix it.
Your lock sock, you funny. Come on over to the lock side, Kendra. I love it. I mean, even though I said that I was going to cut them when I turned 40 because I locked them in 2012. So, 7 is the year of completion, too. So I'm still on the fence about it. But I love them so much, it's hard.
Yeah, I had locks when I was like between 18 and like I want to say 21, something like that. Then I don't know. I like change, so I just ended up cutting them off. Cause back then we didn't have like YouTube to help you figure nothing out. So I didn't realize I could probably just detangle them and retain some of my length that I had. But you live, you learn. I was kind of thinking about getting my locks back, but I don't know. I like changes too much.
One of my sorors, she did that. She did 7 years. She had locks, and she went on and spent a week detangling them, and I'm gonna do it too. Because Because honestly, sometimes at the tip of mine, if I play with them in my fingers, they start to unravel a little bit anyway. I guess it's a hair texture thing. But I'm gonna definitely try so I can retain my length whenever.
Yeah.
So I hope I answered all the unicorn's questions.
You did. You
You
did.
know, I hope y'all got the answers y'all were looking for. Those are some good questions too. They're very good questions. I today when I was out and I was coming home and I was getting ready to get set up for the show, I was trying to kind of figure what y'all would be asking, but y'all came from a different angle. I kind of expected y'all to ask some of the questions. I kind of that y'all asked. I knew y'all was going to ask them, but most of them was like kind of they was kind of came out of nowhere. So those were some good questions. Those are very good
Give me an
questions.
example of what you thought we were going to ask. What should we have asked that we didn't and didn't answer it?
Well, there were no out of range questions that y'all could have asked. Whatever y'all have asked, I would have answered it. But I kind of figured y'all would ask more. I thought y'all would ask more media type questions. As far as media goes, I thought y'all would ask more sexual questions. More media questions, more sexual questions, and possibly a little more questions about what I think of you. I thought some more of those questions would come, but
Well, I did. It crossed my mind, but I didn't want to put you that much on the spot.
there is no
But
putting me on this. That's
well
no,
then
there's no
let's
putting me on the
go.
spot. I
What
pull
do
the
you think
trigger.
of us then?
What do I
What do you
think of?
think of us? Down the road,
This is
one
what
at a
I.
time.
This is fine. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. Believe it or not, I actually take a page from something that Teach said in the beginning, the inception of this Unicorn 4 platform. I think of all of you somewhat as elements. Lady Classic is air. I see her, she's more air. Lady Cats is more earth. You, Lady Ming, are more like water. And of course, Lady Kendra's fire. So I see you ladies in that context. That's how I see y'all. Because all of you have different personalities. Even though when I ask you ladies questions, your answers are somewhat similar most of the time, but you always answer the questions in a different way. And all of you don't always agree with each other. It's like having four influences about one thing. That's what it's like. What I think of all of you, I think that all of you are very, very bright women. I think you're very bright women. But if you want me to go one-on-one, I can do that too.
And when you do it, tell us why you chose that particular element for the person.
Okay. Where should I start? Who should I start with? Do I
Doesn't matter.
Start with me.
There we go.
I can start with you, Lady Cats. Like I say, I consider her earth because she is very earthy. She's very laid back. She puts a lot of forethought before she responds. She's somewhat she has an earth tone kind of personality. Her personality is very earth toned, I should say. She has an earth tone personality, and she's probably the least experienced out of all of you. So she hasn't been tainted by some of the influences that people our age have. People, because I know she's younger. She's the youngest one amongst you. I know that. So she comes at things from a somewhat naive, point of view, but it's not a bad naive point of view. It's a naive point of view where she hasn't been tainted and poisoned by the influences that many of us have. So that's why I consider her to be Earth. Who's next? Who you want to know about next? We can do Lady Classic, being that she's not here or sleeping or something. I consider her to be air because she's very bright, but she's also very long-winded. She's very long-winded, and she gives very, very, very detailed responses. Her responses are very long and detailed. She goes on, and she flows like the wind. Yeah, she comes at you like the wind, you know. She comes at you like the wind. And one thing about Lady Classic is that she was one of the first one of you that I ever had any interaction with. And when I first interacted with her, she pretty much interacted the same way she does now. You know, she just came right with the wind, like with the wind tunnel. So I consider her to be air because she comes at you like the wind. You know, she's like a long wind that you just kind of just have to get prepared for. Let's go with you, Lady Ming. I consider you to be water because you too flow, but you flow differently. You flow like a stream. You are subtle. You are soft, but at the same time, you possess the power to erode any misconceptions about you and any misconceptions about, you know, what you think about who you are as a person. And you have a powerful essence, and you too are very detailed, but you are way more to the point. You are very to the point. Okay, you're very to the point. I mean, you come right with it, and you flow right with it. And we know water can erode rock. So you have that kind of presence with me where you can flow and you can erode any misconceptions about, you know, what you think, what you do, or who you are. Therefore, I consider you to be water.
Okay.
Now, Lady Kendra, I consider Lady Kendra to be fire because Lady Kendra, she comes at things. She too is very direct. But she comes at things from angles that most of us will never come from, but we understand. Okay? Because one thing with fire can burn anything. There's nothing that fire cannot burn. Fire can even burn things that are fireproof if that fire is on that fireproof thing long enough. And that's how Lady Kendra is. Lady Kendra is like, she is like a burning flame that has no problem. If it's on Lady Kendra's mind long enough, even though it's fireproof, she can still burn through it. Yeah, she'll burn through it. She'll burn through it. Fire can engulf anything. And one thing about Lady Kendra, the way she explains things and the points that she makes and the way that she comes across and the way she delivers it, her delivery, okay, captures you. It's just like looking at fire. When you see fire, you can't help but to look. You're captivated by it. And that's how I am with Lady Kendra. When Lady Kendra speaks, I'm captivated when she's speaking. So I consider her to be fire.
Well, that's a very good breakdown. I agree.
That's how I look at you, ladies.
That has my stamp of approval, stamp of approval, stamp of approval.
That's what I think.
Well, A good way to really end the show is to talk about your
Yes,
future
sir.
plans, not only with us, but with everything that you have going with your channel. What can we
Um,
expect to see more of?
well, expect to, because I'm actually in the process of trying to build a little studio. That's what I'm doing with the donations. I'm putting the donations, as you know, I take whatever donations I have at the end of the week, and I take my money and I match it, whether it's $5 or $500, I match it and I put that money to the side. I think
Mhm.
it's going to cost for me to do it. It's probably going to cost somewhere in the area of maybe $5,000. I'm at right now. I'm at $1,600. That's from all the donations I've gotten, because I've gotten total $800 worth of donations total from my platform in the last few months, plus the $800 I have put to it. So I have 1,600 now. So we're only $3,400 away. So I'm going to take that money and I'm going to build a studio with it, because I want it to be built by the people who watch it, because I want them to be a part of it. I want them to be a part of
Mm.
it. Yeah, I want the
Mhm.
people who donate the money, I want them to be a part of it. And I'm keeping a list. I keep a list of all the people who ever donated to me. So when I do start to build it, I will be shouting out every single person who ever gave me any dime, whether you gave me a dime, a penny, $100, $10, $50, whatever you giving me, you will get mentioned when I get it built, because I have a list of everybody who's ever given me anything. What I plan on doing is emailing you and asking you, is it all right if I can use your name? If you say
Mhm.
yes, I'm going to use it. A lot of people who donate to me, when they write me, they're like, "Oh, X, don't say my name, don't say anything." So those people, they probably won't want me to do it. But
Mhm.
people who don't mind me saying, "Hey, look, you built this, you built this, you built this, you built this," I'm going to do that, because I want it to be. I want us to do it together. That's why I match whatever I get. I match it, because I want us to do it together. I want the people to be a part of it. I mean, I could probably jump up and build it, and myself, but I want people to be a part of it. I do. I mean, that's important to me. Okay, that's important. I want people to be a
Mhm.
part of it, because I want y'all to see what your money has done. I want you to see it. So I'm working on that. Also, I'm thinking about moving the site to somewhere else. I got some plans for the site. As y'all know, I'm still working on that, trying to build it, get y'all pages together. The thing that has kind of stagnated me is that my shop has started to get a little busy. So when that happens, I kind of slow down on the media. I can only do it at night. When my shop is a little slower, I can, do shit in the daytime. But this time of year, once it gets to be March, April, I'm stoked, because I do a lot of
Mhm.
contract work. And I work for landscapers, construction companies. I just picked up a couple schools, so I'm doing work for schools. I work on equipment for schools and stuff too. So I'm getting really, really busy. So I haven't really been able to, work on stuff the way I want to, because I don't have the time. I just don't have the time. The only time I have is at night. And usually I'm so damn tired. I come in, I hit the showers, and I hit the goddamn bed. So,
Mhm.
that's been tough, but I'm not making excuses. I'm still plugging at it. I'm still plugging at it. It's not going as fast as I want it to go, but it's going. You know, slow and steady wins the race, I guess. So, far as the media platform, its direction though, I want to eventually get back into radio, and I want you ladies to be a part of it. I do. As you ladies know, I admire all of you. Like I said, I think you ladies are very, very bright. Um, I know that this platform is growing a lot, because you are now a part of it. You have attracted people to this platform that may not have been attracted to it previously. So I want you ladies to be a part of it, as long as you want to be a part of it. And I'm thinking at some point, depending on how far this goes, should we can take this show on the road, ladies. We've taken on to take this show on the road, you
I'm
know,
down.
and I want you ladies to be a part of it. I do. I mean, believe it or not, and I'm going to share this with you and share this with the audience. You ladies have been part of this platform longer than any other people that I've had. Because like I said, I've had a few co-hosts, I've had partners, and usually they've only lasted 2 months, 3 months. I mean, you ladies have been with me since November, and it is now April. You ladies are committed.
Wow.
You're here every week. You listen to the shit X talk. By now, nothing that comes out of my mouth surprises you, I'm sure. None of it surprises you. And you ladies always show up. You're dedicated and you're committed to this, and you always put up a good show. And I respect all of you immensely. I think all of you are lovely. I want y'all to be a part of this. I do. I want y'all to continue to be a part of this as long as you want to be here, because as it grows, I want to bring you with me. I'm really looking forward to us doing greater things and bigger things. I feel like I've gotten to know you ladies somewhat. And I'm sure you've gotten to know me by the shit I talk. And y'all are part of the T.P.O.T family, and I want y'all to remain so. I can say that y'all are part of the T.P.O.T team. You know, y'all not just, you know, these ladies that show up every week. Y'all are part of my team, okay? And y'all always, you know, y'all always do the thing. You know, I've never had a problem with you ladies, you know, and I say again, I mean, I have great respect for all of you. I have great respect for how you ladies answer questions. I have great respect for the things I hear from you from other people's channels. I mean, I see y'all on other people's channels, and I'm so proud to be affiliated with you ladies. I am. I'm proud to be affiliated with y'all. I am, because I listen to y'all. I see y'all on other channels and stuff. You know, every now and then I'll pop in, you know, and I'll say, "Oh, snap, the unicorn 4," and he'll laying it down, you know. So I mean, yes,
I'm not just cutting up on somebody else's platform.
I feel very fortunate to have, you know, 4 very, very, very bright women as part of my team. I feel very fortunate to have all of you as part of this platform. I do. I look forward to these Thursdays. I do. I look forward to these Thursdays. You know, I dress up. I put on a tie for y'all and all that.
And you sitting over there in your boxers. You ain't fooling nobody.
Not boxers. No, but you know how it is.
Basketball shorts. That's what y'all wear.
You know how it is. You know how it is. You know, I ain't fooling y'all. But you know, you only see from here to here anyway, so it don't matter what's going on down there. Yeah, but I appreciate you ladies. But I knew when I first met y'all, I knew that it would be the way it is now. I knew that it would be that way. I knew it. Do y'all remember when we first met? When we first
yeah, that was crazy. It was on the Humbug. Yes. On your channel, on your platform is the first time I've ever spoken.
Yes.
And it's definitely the first time I've ever cammed up and been seen. It's like I'm breaking my cherry all over your damn platform.
Yes, that's cool. Because
he seems to have that effect, doesn't he, man?
Yeah, well,
woman whisperer, you think you're slick?
You slick.
No. Well, hey, look, let me be honest with you ladies, okay? Let me give you another dose of honesty, all right? You ladies are very, very bright, very, very sharp, very, very intelligent, but you are women, okay? You are women. So I know a few, but I don't know you ladies like that, but old X does know a few buttons to press when necessary. Okay?
We were professionally wooed.
That's all I can say.
Because y'all know I was trying to get out of getting on camera last week, and I tried. I tried. Yeah. And then he sent me this old charming ass email, and I'm like, oh crap. Okay, yes, sir.
We gotta do it.
Yeah, but think about it. Think about it, though. Aren't you ladies glad you did it? Why would you
Yeah.
ladies not want to show your faces? I mean, it's not like I have these bunch of busted women on my team. All of y'all are easy on the eyes, so it should be no problem. You know, it's not like I have this group of busted freaking chicks up here. I mean, I got good reviews from the last week, boy. Let me tell you something. I got a few
Hmm.
good emails from that last stream. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now,
Maybe that's the.
y'all out there in the audience. Look, just look, look, look right here, y'all. Okay? Just look right here, y'all. Look right here. Look right here. See these ladies right here? You see them? See them? Come on. What's not to like? What's not to like?
It's the fear of the unknown, you know. It's okay.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm ready now. My husband, my birthday, and by your time, it's already my birthday. But by my time, I still got, a few minutes, almost an hour. But one thing he
okay.
did buy me was a tripod for
Mm,
yeah, because I want to get into making my own videos and stuff
okay.
like that. I
Okay.
mean, we talked about this at the inception of the group of the unicorns. We talked about something. Remember, you asked us like, "What's your 5-year plan?"
Mm-hmm.
And it does include YouTube. So,
Yeah, I mean, I wanna build it, make it better. Add some elements to it. Do a little work on the website. Um, do some things. I mean, I'm about to make a new placard. The new placard behind me. You ladies are going to be on it. That's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm doing that next. When we do these shows, you're gonna see your faces behind me, right back here. When we do the next one, probably next week, yeah, probably next week, not a long time from now, like 7 days from now. When you look back, you're gonna see your faces back there, probably up in here. So,
mhm,
I haven't figured
mhm.
out how I'm gonna do it yet, but I'm put y'all faces on it. I'll put y'all
This is
faces
so
on
exciting. I feel so happy to be involved, and the universe aligned everything as it should be, and it's been a great success since we got together. I've learned so much about these ladies, about you today, and a lot about myself as well.
it.
I've
Mhm.
Mhm.
enjoyed it.
That's
I
what this
definitely say
that's
we honored to be part of it because I didn't anticipate it being so consistent. I said, oh, well, because he said y'all want to come back next week. I said, but I had no intention of being consistent. I was like, I'll come back next week. I ain't gonna keep on getting on these little panels. But then lo and behold, it's like, what? I want to make this a show. And then I thought to myself, Heifer, you ain't doing shit on Thursday night. You can make a show. So I said,
Mhm.
sure, I'll be part of the show. But now I'm actually glad that I didn't do what I usually do with stuff, which is back out and just kind of, I don't want to do it. Actually, this has been very an enjoyable experience. I do look forward to Thursday nights. I be trying to make sure stuff be settled. I'm like, man, okay, I can't do that on Thursday because Thursday night I got, Brother Xavier's show. Y'all can be bothering me on Thursday night or whatever. So I definitely enjoy it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking within the next month or so, I may go ahead and just, chunk the money down and get the radio server and do some radio so we can simulcast. We'll be doing this, we'll be doing radio at the same time. If you ladies don't mind being broadcasted on radio too, we'll be doing that too. So I mean that's in the works as well. So I mean I have plans for this. I do have plans for this. I do. And y'all need to have plans to have put some damn likes down here. All right. Put some likes down here and put some coins in this here bucket. As a matter of fact, let me put the old link. That's the PayPal that you just see coming up. Okay. And we also have, let me find it. We also have the old Streamlabs. Hold up, y'all. Let me pull it up. We also have this one, the old Streamlab. See that? Y'all see that? See the PayPal? And right underneath of this Streamlab. So if you're feeling generous, drop a few coins in the bucket. It will be appreciated. Help me build this studio to help myself and the four lovely ladies of the Unicorn 4 grow. Yeah,
Y'all hear
so
that, people?
yes.
Donate. We got a building fund.
I'm trying to tell
Donate.
you. I'm trying to tell you. You're going to see it. I mean, you're going to see it. I mean, when I build it, you're going to see it. You're going to be like, damn, that's what he did with the money. Because I'm going to make sure the shit nice. I'm telling you, it's going to be nice. When y'all see it, you're going to be like, oh, shit, he really did it. Yeah, because you know OX is a carpenter, too. So, I can build it. I just want everybody to be a part of it. That's all. I want y'all to be a part of it because I want you to help me build it. All right, we're going to do this together, y'all. We're going to do it together, because I appreciate y'all showing up. I appreciate the Unicorn 4 showing up. I appreciate everyone opening their minds. Open your mind, all right? Because that's the only way you're going to change them, and that's the only way Black society is going to get better, and it's going to start with people like us. I guarantee you, it's going to start with people like us. And the first thing we have to do is open our minds, change the way we think. And if we change the way we think, we can change the way we behave. And if we change the way we behave, just possibly, not only could we change our own environment, we may be able to change our lives and the lives of others, because that's what this is all about in the long run. All right. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So y'all just keep that in mind, because see, if I can affect one of you, if I can keep one of you out of prison, if I can keep one of you young girls from getting pregnant before you're ready, if I can keep one of you young brothers from getting somebody pregnant before you're ready, if I can keep you out the streets, keep you off of drugs, keep your ass in school, keep you from getting killed, all of this is worth it. All the money, the time, the computers, all of it. It's a success. It's a success. If only one person benefits, all of this is worth it, and it's a success. And everybody else it benefits after that just makes it more of a success. That's what I think. And that's what the Prophet of Thought series has always been about. That's what it's going to be about until X black ass is dead or off the air or whatever. That's what it's always going to be about. So y'all just keep that in mind and make sure you open your minds. That's all I want you to do. Open your minds. That's it.
Now, Brother X, I know you thought we might get a little bit more raunchy than we did, but I would definitely be open to a part 2 with a few more gentlemen on the panel, and we really have a real grown folks raunchy conversation.
Oh, we can do that. We can do that. We can definitely
You
do
know what I'm
that.
saying? Like some grown folks talk with a
We
few
can
other
do that.
gentlemen on the panel to
I'll tell
really
you
have
what.
a conversation.
How about we go ahead and set that up for next week? I'll get some of the brothers together, because I'm aligned with many brothers. I'm aligned with, the master teacher and Brother Valdez and LAR and, Kevin Sam. I'm aligned with all those brothers. My circle is somewhat big. I'm aligned with most of the people you watch and know. They've been on my show. All right. They've been on here. So get LAR and the master teacher and Brother Valdez and whoever else, whoever else, I get them all together, and maybe that's what we'll do next week. What I'll do is tomorrow, I'll reach out to the brothers, see what they got going on next week, and we'll do that next week. So you done just came up with next week. You done just came up with next week's show topic.
A sex, love, and relationship conversation amongst all of us, because like someone was saying in the chat, Malika Mabane, we were just talking about how it's time, we're trying to build, we're trying to come together. Everything doesn't always have to be from an opposing view against what you're saying. We can have a fun, good conversation with adults are present, and we really learning, sharing, and talking,
We
Like
can
love. The love is
do it.
the undertone, and I'm starting to feel the love, you know?
We can do it. We can do that next week. See, Lady Mingdon just came up with a next week's topic. Now I don't have to. All I got to do is make. All I got to do is make the
Ew.
promo.
Love, sex, and relationships. And let's get some of these men on here to talk the real
We could,
talk.
I will put that into the works tomorrow. I will reach out to the brothers because I have all their emails and phone numbers. Maybe I'll get brother Jay Shine on here too. I'll get
Yeah.
I'll
It's always fun.
how about I fill the whole roster up and I'll get 5 or 6 guys and it'll be them and the unicorns. We can do that. We can
Oh,
do that.
sounds like a plan. What y'all think, Kendra and Kat?
We
That
can do that.
sounds pretty good to me.
We can do that. Lady Cats. Has Lady Cats gone incognito too?
No. I'm wait. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, we'll do
Come with
that.
your questions, Cats, because I know you like, wait a minute, I ain't been in love or like all that stuff. But you got some questions or a perspective from your viewpoint or some fears or probably even some misconceptions about what it's all about, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Sound
I'll think about it.
Okay.
yeah. Write some things down like you did this week. And she
Can you
was like,
tell?
Okay.
yeah, she was like, oh, I wrote some things down. I was like, you did? But yeah, I really like this tonight, ladies. I mean, y'all asked some really, really good questions. Y'all did. Y'all asked some really good questions. Y'all asked some really intelligent questions. You know, um, I'm glad that I did this. I'm glad that I did this because see, like I said in the promo and like I said at the top of the show, I'm always firing questions at y'all. So, it was good to actually sit back and, be in the hot seat and, listen to, what you ladies had on your mind, was actually pretty good to do that. And you ladies all asked like different kind of questions too. But I knew that would be the case. I knew you ladies would come like from like different angles, each of you. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get any questions from Lady Cats. Lady Classic. I'm kind of disappointed because I wanted to hear what she wanted to say too. But maybe next week. Next week we'll let her do her thing.
Oh yeah, she gonna shine.
Yeah.
Love, relationships, and sex.
Yeah.
She gonna be okay.
Yeah, so I'll send her an email tomorrow or something and tell her that I'm really hurt that you didn't participate and ask me some questions. My feelings are really hurt. But yeah,
Oh,
I appreciate
she
y'all
gonna take
coming.
you serious.
Yeah, I appreciate. Nah, I'm not gonna tell her that. I appreciate y'all showing up tonight. I appreciate y'all showing up tonight. And y'all better make sure y'all have y'all black behinds here next week because y'all just heard what Lady Ming said. Next week is going to be wicked and wild. But make sure you stop by the old Prophet of Thought Series Facebook page. That's Prophet of Thought Series on Facebook. That's the main page. Go there, like, share, follow the page. There's always some good stuff there. Plus, you can always run into links to the Unicorn 4 here. And also make sure you stop by the TPOT bandwagon page. Send a friend request to that page and we'll click it back quick. And also make sure you stop by the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. The membership is building, y'all. I think we at like 2,800. We creeping up on 3,000. So let's go ahead and get to 3,000 before this month's out. Go ahead, request to be a member, and you will get accepted quick. Trust me. I will make sure of that. So that's the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. Make sure you stop by and become a member. And also make sure you stop by the website. The website is under construction, but guess what? You go there, you will see the Unicorn 4. They are there. Also, there's some other things there too, like Sister Slain by Killer Cops, and also Tribute to the Fallen is also there. So stop by the website, check it out. It's www.don'teventryi.wikifoundry.com. That's www.don'teventryi.wikifoundry.com. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's Prophet of Thought on Instagram. Go ahead and follow. If you follow me, you definitely gonna get a follow back. And make sure you follow us on Twitter. You know that thing I'm telling you about every week and threatening to haunt you in your sleep about. So follow me on Twitter. It's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. You give me a follow, you're definitely going to get a follow back. But if you don't follow me, I'm going to haunt you in your sleep tonight. And like I said before, make sure you have your black behinds here next week. Make sure you have your black behinds here next week, because next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, you will see the lovely ladies of Thought Unicorn 4 laying down another good topic like they always do. Lady Cats, Lady Classic, Lady Kendra, Lady Ming, the Unicorn 4 always lay down a good show. So make sure you have your black behind here next week. Once again, I want to thank everybody for watching and my moderators doing an excellent job. If you're feeling generous, make sure you throw some coins in the bucket and be generous with some likes in the bucket as well. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words like I always do. Open your minds. And we out of here, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Peace, folks.
Open. Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind. Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind.
Only